three cinephiles have come together to bring you strong opinions, controversial statements, epic battles, and plenty of fun. Introducing our host, the man who watches 52 movies a week, drinks 52 beers a movie, loves women but hates the woman, from the foreign land of Canada, our host, Moodz 616. He is widely known as the man who talks too much. His worst enemies are Postmaster P and Pee Wee Herman. He said Hellraiser was overrated and Leprechaun Origins wouldn't suck. He's the full-blooded half-Mexican, JP. Finally, we have the man who doesn't talk enough. He is best friends with Sean S. Cunningham. His favorite horror movie is Gummo. He is your favorite Jew and mine, Jeremy. Together they are known for extending a helping hand to vampircons everywhere. They are the 22 shots of Moodz and horror.
Yes, y'all, it's going down right here, episode 37 of the 22 Shots of Moodz and Horror coming at you live. Yes, I am your host, Moodz 616, and of course, I've always got my two hombres on
Hombres? Nice.
Yeah, NES Ruler 22, also known as Jeremy, and of course, we got the real hombre, Double Shot J, also known as JP. What's going on, homies?
I don't know, but that sick voice sounds a little deep there.
Yeah.
I know, man. I apologize to people out there. My voice is like gonna be on and off on this show. I've been sick for like the last 3 days, and I'm hacking up a storm. And
but you're not working.
Sounding gross.
You're not working outside anymore, are you?
Well, I haven't been working the last 3 days either.
I mean, but like you used to always outside all the time, so you always were sick.
Yeah,
but you're true. You're not going to be outside as much.
Not as much, no.
That's nice, I guess.
A couple weeks back when I was really sick, that was like one of the worst experiences ever, especially recording the show like that. It was awful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so unfortunately I get to experience that this week. Ugh, of course.
How were you feeling yesterday?
I felt pretty bad yesterday, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But, like I said, it's just been, my voice is just on and off, so I don't feel as bad today, but, talking wise, it just gets a little tough at times, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
So anyways, guys, how was your guys' Christmases?
Christmases?
Oh yeah. Well, I think it would be Christmas, like cacti, because it's only one, me. Because Jeremy does not participate in the Christmas holiday, right? I mean,
that's why I kind of laughed when I said that. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, all I do is watch the Pee Wee Christmas special and eat Chinese food.
See,
sounds about right.
My Christmas was actually just kind of non-existent. It just kind of went right by. It was probably the least amount of importance in my whole life, probably. I didn't have anything planned. I didn't really do anything. Christmas Eve, I went up the road to my cousin's house and chilled while watching Frosty the Snowman, and I came home, went to sleep, and that was pretty much it. It was really nothing, but I did check out A Christmas Story a couple times, and I did watch a couple, I watched one Christmas horror film at least, so.
Because we watched enough last week, right?
Yeah, right.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I try to hold it together.
Yeah, what did you do, Moodz?
I don't know. The same old stuff. Just spend time with the family and Aaron's family.
Got anything good?
On Christmas Eve, and then went over to my auntie's house and stuff, and actually got home pretty early. Chilled out on Saturday. I was up really early, so I actually crashed out really early on Christmas Eve, or on Christmas Day, which was super unusual. But as you guys know, I hadn't slept really much in like 3 days. I think I only had 5 hours sleep in 3 days, so it really did not contribute to me, staying healthy. Caught a cold and just was devastated by it, so wasn't sleeping much. And I don't know, Christmas itself, it was just spoiled rotten as usual.
Nice.
It was hard to enjoy it though, because I was so sick, and I was like, but I still had a good time. Whole family. Aaron cooked an awesome dinner, and
you always get good shit. So.
Yeah, I always feel like you're eating very well.
Yeah, that is true, man.
Yeah.
Like, her dinner was it was fantastic, man. It was so good. But it was, like pretty much after I ate a huge meal, did the dishes, and like I was snoring by like 8 o'clock because I was just not feeling good, but I was full of turkey and stuff. So it was good. It was good.
You're all eating good up there in the north, and I'm in Southwest PA eating noodles and noodles every day.
You guys have something in common, man. Jeremy's eating Chinese on Christmas, and you eat noodles too?
I'd rather eat Chinese than noodles and noodles, to be completely honest. I was stuck eating noodles and noodles all the time. I'd go fucking insane.
Yeah, I actually haven't really ate much of that lately. I actually ate steak today, so I can't complain too much.
Oh, yeah, you can't complain about that, for sure.
What did you get for Christmas, Moodz?
Oh, a bunch of stuff. I think that I got the Twin Peaks Blu-ray series, which was really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get the Pee-wee set, but it's fine. I got the Twin Peaks one, which was really awesome.
A million times better than the Pee-wee set.
Not really, but that's all right.
It was so cool, man. I was like, I opened it up, and I was looking at the features and stuff, and then I realized it actually comes with the movie in there too, on Blu-ray.
Oh,
I was
nice.
like, I didn't even know that. I was like, that's a total bonus. So that was really cool. I got a bunch of other stuff, some more movies, and just basically just got spoiled rotten as usual.
You always get the good shit.
Yeah, he does. So we had a Christmas party at work on the 23rd, and I actually got some gift cards. I got like a $50 Walmart gift card and a $25 Amazon gift card. So that was kind of dope. So
Nice.
I'm gonna be able to buy some extra stuff with it.
I won 150 off my brother yesterday in poker, so...
You guys were playing poker yesterday? Nice.
Yeah, I won 150 off of him.
Did he let you win?
No. That's how my brother, growing, from, 18 to, 22, he used to play cards, and that's how he used to make, his living. He used to play in, Texas Hold'em tournaments and shit like that, so...
What's the age difference?
5 years.
Oh, wow. It's not that much.
Nah. But, it's like that, so we never were in the same schools growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that's pretty good, though, man.
Extra spending money.
If he's used to, making a living off playing cards and you're taking 150 off him,
Yep.
you feel good about yourself then.
Oh, yeah. Especially with me, I don't win shit.
So that was kind of an interesting story, though. I mean, you didn't know your brother was coming into town, and he just knocks on the door, and there he is.
Yep.
When was the last time you seen him?
Last September, a year and a half.
So just over a year.
15 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's he living?
Oregon, Eugene.
Oh, yeah.
Just in the middle of nowhere, he tells me. But
Eugene, Oregon, I actually know exactly where that is.
yeah, it's not too far from you.
No, technically, it's not. It's not, actually. I've been right through there, actually.
Yeah, it's right south.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he keeps getting more west and north, I see. Because wasn't he was in Denver there for a while,
Yeah, he was
wasn't
in Denver, and he was in California for a little while, but now he's in Eugene. But he tells me he wants to go back to Denver, so...
Surprised he's not making his way up to, the Seattle area, in the Washington area.
Yeah.
It's all legal there, man.
Yeah, but it's legal in Denver, too, so it's I don't know why he doesn't go back to...
That's true. It wasn't legal there when he was there, though, was it?
No.
Too much competition where it's legal, man.
There's only 2 states where it's legal. I think
exactly.
2 states.
Interesting stuff.
Yes.
How about that poll, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, how is that poll going right now? I actually didn't check on it today.
I haven't checked it today, but I was
What's
very
in the lead?
surprised at the results so far.
Yeah, me too. And they keep changing kind of positions too, so which is kind of interesting. So, I was definitely really surprised to see the ones that were at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so surprised. So,
those of you who might be listening to this in the future, way in the future, we're talking about our Viewer's Choice 2 episode, which we decided to let you guys pick 100% the results of the 3 films that we will be reviewing on that future episode. And I was really surprised at the recommendations to begin with that we got. Very kind of just all over the place in terms of tone and subgenre. But
I was really surprised to see the Roost doing well for a while, but
It's not up there anymore.
yeah, it fell down a little bit. Well, it's tied for third place right now, so
No, it's tied for... Oh, yeah. Yep.
The thing that blows my mind is like the top three.
Are all
Two of them are shot on video, and Blood Diner, I believe, is almost shot on video.
yeah,
And they're all from 87 and 88.
Yeah, it's like,
funny.
but that goes back to JP's point though. The range of films in the original list was crazy. You know, it was like shot on film, videos, all the way to like new sleaze. You know,
Yeah.
Mhm.
it was covering a lot of grounds, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I was, you know, I've actually never seen Video Violence. I have seen Cannibal Campout, and I've seen Blood Diner. So if those three were to win, I think that would be an interesting, funny show.
Yeah.
But the Roost, how about that? Roost was the number 11 seed, wasn't even supposed to be in the final vote until we had a little mess up. The Roost comes in and is tied for third place. How about that?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool, actually.
And we've reviewed, I think, 2 of Ty West's other films. So,
Yep. We only have one
Guess
more,
it would-
well, 2 more to go
Yeah.
if we review that one.
well, Cabin Fever 2 is also his film, technically.
And Innkeepers. So those are the only 2 left if we review The Roost.
Yeah, I think
Well, he's done some anthologies as well.
I know somebody
Yeah,
talked
but-
about VHS 1.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure someone did. It was probably you, wasn't
I,
it?
I don't think anybody's ever rated VHS 1, just VHS
Really?
2 and 3.
Oh, crazy. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so keep voting on that poll. We'll be closing it down pretty soon.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm thinking probably around the time this gets posted, so
Yeah,
Probably
maybe
Monday
like a
or
day
Tuesday.
after.
yeah. Cool. So if you guys are listening to this, definitely go in and vote if you have not voted, because every vote does count. And I thought it was pretty interesting how the poll was working, because you can actually see who has voted on what.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. But yeah, so JP, do we got some news this week?
It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life.
Hi, Scales weather. Phone calls are pouring into the New York One newsroom as a thunder. Several more
A few miles from the town of Burkittsville. Well, just hours ago, police arrested 3 obsessed movie fans who allegedly committed a series of ritualistic murders after watching last summer's blockbuster movie, The Blair Witch Project.
Murders in the history of the country.
Not really, but I mean, this is probably the worst news we've ever had. There were a few different things here, like, oh, a teaser trailer for this film has been announced, or, you know, this film has got distribution in the UK, but it's just stuff that we don't really care about too much, that it's not going to, you know, spark any conversation at all. It's just going to be like, okay, and then we move on. So I just decided to grab the 2 most important things, because that was literally it. I almost had some announcements for some IFC titles, but I think we actually reported on those a while back, so I don't know why those ones came up again. It was Wormwood and the other one.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, I thought so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the first little bit of news is the Phantasm 5 Ravager teaser trailer thing was released again. This is the second type of trailer or whatever, but it was actually pretty funny. You know, it was like in the spirit of Christmas and stuff. Looked pretty cool. I actually did watch it because I didn't know it was like actual footage of the film. I hope that people. Well, first of all, did you guys get a chance to check it out?
I did not, but I heard people talk about it.
Moodz?
No.
Okay, it was pretty funny. It was a cool little thing with, you know, the director and Don Coscarelli sitting by a Christmas tree, you know, talking Phantasm and stuff. And then there was a brief clips, and I guess its release date is going to be in 2015, awaiting release. I guess it's pretty much done. But I want everybody out there to kind of have their expectations a little low on this one, because I have a feeling that it's not going to be able to touch the originals, but I still feel like it's going to be solid. I just don't want everybody. This just feels like one of those films that when it finally comes out, like I could just see like the whole world bashing it because this reason, or it's not like this, it's not like the original or this, and I'm just hoping like I can already pre-see it happening, so I'm trying to like fight it already.
Mm-hmm.
Don Coscarelli didn't direct it, so everyone's gonna be like, "Fuck this movie."
No, Don Coscarelli didn't direct this one.
I'm saying because he didn't direct it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know damn well he was there.
I mean, that's pretty much the main reason not to get your expectations up too high.
Yeah.
Because you know it's going to be a little different than the first 4 right there alone, right? So you kind of got to, disconnect yourself from that to enjoy it. I really do hope it is good because Phantasm is one of my favorite franchises, and if this one is really shitty, it's not really going to hurt the franchise for me, but it's just, it's definitely going to have that little dark spot on it now.
Because there's always a dud in every franchise, so like
there seems to be, with the exception, in my opinion, of like Phantasm and Psycho, and there's a couple that have got solid ones, but yeah, there always is that dud.
Well, let's look at it. Obviously, this is going to be very low budget, considering the whole way that this film came about was Don Coscarelli and the director of Phantasm 5 were just messing around with some new equipment, and they just would start shooting things. And since Coscarelli is so, entwined in Phantasm, like it was just like sort of Phantasm-y. And then, on the weekends they would keep doing that, and they eventually was like, well, maybe we should actually just film a Phantasm movie. So obviously going to be low budget, but Coscarelli was there the whole time. Let's not forget this is a Coscarelli film. It just because it's labeled as directed by David Hartman doesn't mean that Coscarelli's hands wasn't heavily, involved in the puppeteering of this film. And also, it's been so long, guys. Like, so you're gonna kind of have, there's gonna be a difference in quality and just tone and vibe, probably just because it's a different era. But I just want to say everybody asked for this, so whatever it is, we're kind of stuck with it. And what Moodz was saying along the lines of, it's not going to ruin the original films. Yeah, that's true. But I think that this one actually has more on the line than your typical franchise because the films are so connected and they feel like one big film that I do feel like it could not ruin, but hurt the, storyline a bit and like the future of just the whole series in general because they are like one movie.
But do we know what the storyline is for this?
No, but if I know Don Coscarelli, man, I bet it's going to be pretty damn.
Well, that's what I was hoping, that it was going to have, like continuity going for it. Like definitely connect itself to part 4.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty
sure.
sweet.
I'm sure it has to, because he knows that was such a big thing that fans would constantly say, like, man, like I love how they're all connected and stuff. So
because it would definitely really stick out if it didn't have any continuity, like if it just kind of went off into a new direction, it would really stick out. And I think people would have a really hard time accepting it. I think the best thing you could possibly do, when you get that notion, you're going to do a part 5, you have to have that continuity, man.
Yeah.
I think that's the start, and you have to go from there.
I'm not sure if like all the color correction and stuff is like done, but I felt like this one seemed a little light, like a little bright. Because when I think of Phantasm, I think dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this one's a little bright, which is kind of annoying me. But I'm not going to judge
just from
it
seeing
too
a
much.
teaser though.
Well, they released that first trailer and now this trailer, so. Yeah, who knows? I mean, obviously, it's still early.
It's really hard to judge from that, though.
Yeah.
Those teaser things, like, sometimes they don't even use those footage. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's literally just a teaser.
Yeah, like, sometimes the trailer, like, they didn't even go through any of the, like, color adjustments at all when they released the trailers. So, I'm not reading into that too much, but I'm really excited for this when it comes out, but I am going to keep my expectations to a minimum because I just have a feeling that it's not going to be as good as the original films, but I'm just really like impressed that there's a Phantasm 5
in 2015. That's like insane.
I mean, there was a few years there, and I was like, I don't think we're ever going to see a 5th one.
Yeah.
And I remember when you first noted that there was one possibly in the makings, I almost shit my pants. I was like, this can't be true.
Yeah, because when we was doing our Phantasm show, this was before the announcement of the 5th, I believe.
Yeah.
And we even talked about thoughts on a Phantasm 5, and I brought up how, a year prior I was in a live chat with Don Coscarelli, and he like teased about, well, maybe we will do one, but it just seemed like, like a pipe dream. Like there was no like weight to it. And we even kind of considered like, yeah, there probably won't be a Phantasm 5. So just, a couple months later getting announced, I remember just being like in kind of shock. Like that never happens with like sequels, especially like after 4 films, like a 5th one that many years later. Crazy.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
I'm excited though.
Well, they had to do it now or never, so.
Yeah.
Angus Scrimm isn't going to be around forever, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, he is old right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
At least they got another one done.
Definitely.
Yep.
So after that, the final piece of news we have here is Ash, a.k.a. Bruce Campbell, was interviewed Bruce Campbell, a.k.a. Ash, was interviewed by Entertainment Weekly, and he kind of revealed some stuff about the new Evil Dead TV series. He says, kind of the synopsis, Ash is living in a trailer park, working his latest big box store job, I'm guessing S-Mart, when the return of the Deadites prompt him to take a road trip with 2 young coworkers, and of course his trusty boomstick. So I like the idea that he's on a road trip, maybe a little bit of road horror up in there.
With 2 young people.
Yeah, and they actually do talk about that a bit. He also talks about the tone, and he said something that bugged me a little bit. He said, we're going to give people a little of old-fashioned slapstick, horror, and comedy, ...
Uh-oh. JP's favorite thing.
If there's one thing that kind of annoys me is the way
use the word slapstick.
Yeah, slapstick is rough, man. Like, it just doesn't work anymore. Like, it's past its time. It's not timeless. It just doesn't work as comedy anymore. But that's one thing that kind of annoyed me about the Evil Dead series. As much as I do like Army of Darkness, because I do like it a lot, it's a solid movie. I like watching it. It just kind of always bugged me that it got that ridiculous. Because what was wrong with Evil Dead 2? Like, why did it have to go that far into it, with the slapstick? I mean, it's straight up Three Stooges at points, Looney Tunes as hell. So, yeah, I mean, he then also talks about, the type of character Ash is going to be after all these years. You can read the whole article, online. It's posted everywhere pretty much now. But he said Jeremy mentioned about the 2 co-workers that will be accompanying Ash. One is a male, and the one is a father figure type deal, but they both sound like they're male. And I think they said that Ash could have a daughter also.
Not really digging that.
The thing is that
Jesus
you have to realize is it's not a film anymore. It's not going to be a 90-minute thing. Like, you're going to have a lot of downtime where there's character development and lots of dialogue. So what do? Just have it be Ash himself? You know what I mean?
all these new additions and stuff, it sounds like a fucking sitcom. Maybe like a Full House type deal.
Has a catchy intro theme song.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I saw all this coming. Like, you just can tell as soon as they mentioned that it's going to be a TV series.
It's so hard to judge from what we hear. I think in this case, it's one of those cases where you really have to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
because it might be good.
It's so
like,
up in the air, right?
Yeah, I mean, it could be really bad or it could be good. Like, I honestly don't even know what to think of this, so I'm just gonna reserve all judgments and just fucking watch it.
And is this gonna be like a show where a different director directs every episode, or is it gonna be like Sam Raimi's gonna direct everything?
I do remember when we reported on it that they when it initially was announced, that was part of the news. I just can't remember what it was. I want to say Sam Raimi was directing all the episodes, but I could be wrong.
You don't see that very often.
Yeah, I was going to say that's pretty rare.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And he said about CGI and stuff, he said, I have a hunch we'll do what we've always done, a kind of combo platter, which is better for the audience anyway. I don't think that's what they've always done, first of all, because...
yeah, they were around before.
Yeah, but, I mean, you're right, dude. It's just, you're gonna have to wait till that first episode cracks open, and you're gonna just have to see what they brought to the table. Like, what what kind of film is it going to be? Is it going to be Evil Dead 1? Is it going to be Evil Dead 2? Or is it going to be Army of Darkness? Because in my opinion, all three have, completely different tones.
Or maybe it's going to be all three mixed in one.
Yeah. I mean, maybe.
The way it makes it sound right now, it's kind of going that way.
Yeah, very possible.
I think they're going to. Yeah, so I mean, who knows? We really just got to wait.
One thing I believe that we can count on is Bruce Campbell showing up. Because that character is so, it's him, right? I mean,
it's iconic.
That's what he's known for. So I'm sure he's gonna give it his all, not to kind of ruin the legacy of that character and himself. So yeah, I mean, I think we can count on that at least, And it's not often that you see, TV remakes or film remakes where we have the original character, the original actor still playing the character so many years later. Like we've seen it with Robert Englund, we've seen it with everybody. They always get recast. So that's one big thing that is awesome.
Yeah.
And that's it for the news.
Holy shit, really?
That's it? 2 pieces?
Yep. And we stretched them out way longer than I thought we would.
That's really crazy.
We seem to always be able to do that.
Alrighty, so getting into mood swings here, we'll start off with the releases for December 30th, 2014, and much like the last couple weeks, it is very scrawny.
Yeah, I'd expect this week to be, because it's like, oh, that's New Year, like the end of the year. So it's like, who the fuck's gonna buy movies?
Yeah. It really, really scrawny finish to the year. This whole December has been pretty nasty. But first up here, we got a film from Scorpion Releases called A Candle for the Devil, being released on Blu-ray.
Cool cover art.
Yeah, awesome. I've wanted to see this movie for a long time, and I can't believe it actually got a release. So this is pretty damn cool. Looking forward to checking this one out. Then we got another film from Scorpion called A Strip to Kill. This one is being released on DVD. I think it's already been released on DVD, and now the Blu-ray is just coming out on the 30th. So, or on the 20th. Yeah, the
sounds
30th.
Sounds like a diploma title.
Strip to Kill.
Yeah.
That cover art looks painful.
Dress to Kill, Strip to Kill. Yeah, I don't really know much about this one, actually. It's kind of odd, but I know, like I said, the DVD did come out a couple weeks back, and then they dropped the Blu-ray like a couple weeks later. I think something happened with their distributor or something like that. I was reading a little piece on why that happened, but I think it actually had something to do with Blu-ray cases, and I shit you not.
There's stuff like that always happens.
Fucking Elite screwed up.
Well, because Scorpion doesn't like to put out their releases in eco cases because the fans always bitch. So they were having problems with the people that were doing their
Scorpion's good people.
Yep.
Yeah, and so they actually delayed their release because they didn't want the eco cases, and they had to wait for this other distributor, whatever the fuck, because only so many people are not, or there's only so many companies that are not using the eco ones right now. So it kind of held up production.
Hopefully they all don't go to eco.
What a bunch of goddamn bullshit, man. That's a whole topic in itself.
At least they understand. Yeah, at least they understand that, because they've been reading on, Facebook and stuff, people complaining about the artwork getting torn and shit. And it's a big deal, man. When you're spending, when you're spending $20-$30 on a Blu-ray, for these cult films and stuff, the last thing you want is a shitty fucking cheap eco case that's wrecking your fucking art. Yeah. I mean, at least, and I'm so happy that a company like Scorpion actually reads, on Facebook and fucking listens to the fans and stuff. Like, don't want fucking eco cases, so they don't give them to them.
Yeah, awesome. It's like, and then that's like the argument. It's like, well, you don't care about, saving plastic or, the environment or whatever. It's like, look, if you buy an expensive ass guitar, are you going to put it in a goddamn eco-friendly guitar case? No, you're not. They're built to be protective. Those eco cases are not protective. It's no longer a protective case. It's a housing unit.
Yeah, they're just awful. I mean, I'm sure you guys have got, Blu-rays with wrecked art because of those fucking things.
Listen,
so stupid.
There's only been a couple times that something has went wrong, but that's not the point. It shouldn't happen ever, because it's a case. It's supposed to protect my shit, not ruin it.
Yep, I totally agree.
And it's like those big box stores that put like those crushers on the side of the cases. Mm-hmm. It fucking like crushes the box, and it pisses me off. It's like, why the fuck do you put those pinchers on the side of the case?
Yeah.
No one's gonna fucking steal them. Stop being cheap.
It's so crazy to me that people even steal DVDs anymore.
Yeah, I know. Because they ain't worth jack shit.
Yeah,
it is kind of funny. Then we've got Kevin Smith's new, I guess, horror film.
Yeah.
Well, it's the I'm curious to check it out simply for that reason. I want to see if it's a horror film or not. But
I know it definitely has comedic elements in it and stuff. But we all know the story behind Tusk.
As long as this one's not $24.99, and I'm pretty sure that it'll hit Walmart, I'll probably grab it at Walmart the day of release so I could squeeze it in before the end of the year show.
Yeah, I hope it's not too much either. So
$15 on Amazon.
No, that's not too bad.
For the Blu-ray?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's actually a really good price.
Yeah.
I think it's like $30 on Amazon.ca.
Of course. And it will take 2 months to get there.
Oh, it's fucking bullshit.
2.5.
Okay, then next up we got a film. I don't really know anything about it. It's called APP or App, I guess. It kind of looks like a like Species type sci-fi
crappy movie.
Yeah, the only thing I do know about it is that it's German. Yeah, it looks a little more sci-fi
because it doesn't even look German to me.
I know, it's weird, eh?
Doesn't look. It looks like American crap, really.
Yeah. It does, actually.
Those stupid Americans make nothing but crap.
American sci-fi Walmart crap.
Asylum crap.
Yeah. Well, maybe the Germans are getting into that market too.
Yeah, right.
They're tired of doing their really awesome indie German splatter films. They're like, fuck it.
We can do American crap just as good as American crap.
Yeah, we're gonna start ripping off Species, from now on. That's all we're gonna do. Next up, we got a film called The Bible Belt Slasher: The Holy Terror.
Yeah.
This has been released by Midnight Releasing.
Brain Damage.
That's right, Brain Damage. And I know that our buddy Steve actually did a review for this one already. Yep. Sounded pretty funny, to be honest. It's definitely not going to be for everybody, but
a little overpriced in my opinion right now.
You know what, man? Brain Damage and Midnight Releasing, brand new up here, are so expensive. Like, I have no idea why. They're so expensive.
All day, baby.
I know, because those titles just, they ravage all those family videos, man.
This is actually a sequel.
Oh, really?
The Bible Belt Slasher, really?
Yeah, it's a sequel to a short film, which is included on the DVD.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He said that in the review. That's right. And last up here for the releases is a film called Hellfire. I think this one is being released by Midnight Releasing. So, yeah. I don't really know
how many times have you seen those posters where it's a person between somebody's legs?
I know.
Oh my God.
I was just about to say that. I was like, I don't really know how to judge this film because this cover I've seen a million times for a different, like a million different types of films.
Every genre. In every genre they've used that.
Yeah, so I don't know. This one, just by judging by the cover, it kind of looks like a dramatic action, maybe with horror elements in it.
I was getting a Western vibe for some reason, but I know that's not true.
It's awesome. Yep. But that's going to do it for the releases. Do you have anything else, JP?
No, I don't. Nope, nothing.
Yeah, like extremely scrawny for releases. So
this whole month has been shitty.
Yeah.
Fucking Scream Factory screwed it all up by not releasing New Year's Evil on freaking New Year's.
Oh, I know. I'm still fucking butthurt about that.
Fucking Scream Factory screwed everything up.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
That is fucked up to miss that, to announce a film for like such a specific release date and then not get it in there.
They ruined the whole month.
Not deliver. I know.
It's like you might as well wait till next year to release it.
Yeah.
Yep. Alrighty. So getting into some Q&As here. Yeah. What's the first question, JP?
Oh, damn it. Well, we could do voicemails if you want to do that.
Voicemails. Okay, we can do that.
All right. So the first voicemail comes from our good buddy Brandon.
Hey guys, Brandon calling in for this week's top 5, and I decided to go with top 5 cover boxes that scared you when you were a kid. For me, this all started when I when I was little, I grew up with the mom and pop video stores long before the big chains came along, so they had a much larger selection of horror movies, and still carried the same when the blockbusters came along, but definitely some ones that you don't see around that much anymore. So top 5 scary cover boxes for me. Number 5, The Deadly Bees. Number 4, Rabid. Number 3, Carrie. Number 2, Fright Night. And number 1, by far, Trilogy of Terror. So, yeah, that's my list. Be interested to hear what you guys say. Also, it's going to be sad to see the day come when, the day is here, when the new generation of horror film collectors won't be able to walk into a video store and enjoy walking up and down the horror aisle. So, yeah, that's it for this week, and talk to you guys next week. Keep up the good work. Bye.
So that's Brandon right there with another awesome voicemail. So cover art, guys. I mean, that was such a big part when I was growing up, you know, walking down the aisles of the video stores. Is there any that like stand out to you that kind of creeped you out when you was younger?
I remember going into the video stores with my parents, you know, as a young kid, in the 80s and stuff. And of course my parents would run over to like the new releases or whatever and pick out the new Barbra Streisand fucking whatever. You know, some mainstream bullshit. But I would always run to the horror section because that was where the cover art was at, man.
Yeah.
You know, even though chances were they weren't going to rent me some of those films, I still wanted to look at it. You know, we all did, you know.
Yeah.
Always had to head over to that section because, you know, like I said, it was by far the best. The one cover art that I always remember staring at, and I was actually kind of terrified to rent for like a long time because the cover was kind of nasty looking, and it was the cover art for Demons. Do you guys remember that real nasty fucking gooey demon?
I thought that was.
Yeah.
I remember the second one.
I don't.
Yeah.
Not the first one.
I don't remember
that
cover art at all.
Oh, really? Yeah, because that one that
Yes,
used to
sir.
stick out all the time because it was just, you know, the black background with that fucking nasty looking demon on it. And it used to kind of scare me because it always stuck out. And I was like, I don't know about that one. But, you know, I was young. But yeah, that one always stuck out to me.
Dead Alive, man. That one's so, like, simple, but I don't know. Something about, like, this lady ripping her face apart.
I have a few cover art, like, memories. And one of them, the one that actually probably creeped me out the most was Leprechaun 1 and 2. They creeped me out. I did not want to rent Leprechaun, but I did at the same time, and I would rent it. And it always creeped me out. It really did when I was a kid. Another one that I always remember really, like, being drawn to, is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. And it's so weird because I didn't know, I hadn't seen The Breakfast Club or if I had, I haven't seen the poster at the time of this, but it is, you know, just the Breakfast Club poster. Yep. But it always drawn me to it for some reason. I remember always walking up the steps where the T's would be, and you know, the Chainsaw 2 cover art on the box would always get me, and I would always rent that one. Another one that I loved is just I would stand there at the Fridays and just see all the cover arts, and I just loved that, like seeing all of them together. Same thing with the Elm Streets. One that actually, this is like kind of the how cover art can ruin a rental for you. Cujo. I always hated the artwork, and I just never rented it simply because I didn't like the artwork.
Which one is that? Was that the dog cover art or the other one?
No, it was like the fence or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I don't. Honestly, it's okay looking now, but as a kid, it was just a fence. You know, there's nothing to it to like draw my attention. So you know, I'm having a lot of fun right now. Just all these memories like flashing back, seeing all these different cover arts and stuff. But there was definitely times where I rented movies like based on like I rented Rumpelstiltskin because it was like Leprechaun, and I liked Leprechaun, so you know, definitely burned me a couple times on the cover art. But I remember Night of the Demons 2 or 3 was always kind of stood out to me as well. There's definitely a lot of cool ones out there. I would actually probably will get off of here and just look up old cover arts because I'm having fun thinking about them now.
I always one that I always remembered was Blood Beach. was the girl that was hanging half out of the beach, and always got me thinking. I was like, damn, that would suck, man. Another one that I always remembered staring at and rented it just because of the cover art was Slumber Party Massacre 2.
Oh yeah, man.
The guy with that gnarly fucking guitar drill.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget watching that movie too and going, what in the fuck is this?
You know what?
So confused on what the hell the movie was. I'm like, it's like a fucking psycho rockabilly fucking slasher, like supernatural fucking ghost. It had to have been the weirdest movie I'd ever watched as a kid, I swear.
You know, now that you mentioned the Slumber Party Massacre, that reminded me, that was a film that I wanted to rent, like, for a while. Like, I would always see that cover and it would be on the shelf, but it was still at the era where I was, reliant on my mother to actually rent the films. Mm-hmm. So I remember, like, I knew that, like, I was allowed to watch pretty much anything, but at the same time, like, I felt like as a kid, like I was even smart enough to know this. Like I know that like a bunch of like half naked girls like on the cover with this guy, once again between the leg shot, on the cover, like might just kind of come off weird. So like I never had the balls to take it up there until I actually grew some balls and took it up there. Probably around puberty time. So. So yeah, I mean, for the longest time I wanted to rent that as a kid, but it's just like that poster was like a little too, like it did its job, right? Like you wanted to see it because of that reason, but at the same time, being so young, I was a little nervous to actually present it to my mom, even though she would have not even gave a damn. So
yeah, my parents were really big Stephen King readers, which ultimately got me into reading novels at such a young age. But so I was really drawn to anything that I knew that was adapted from Stephen King's work.
And damn well they threw it right up on the cover.
Yeah, So, I mean, I totally know what you're talking about with the Cujo one, but Pet Sematary is one that I always remember and was drawn to, which ultimately, that was the first Stephen King novel I actually ever read as a child. I was actually in grade 4. It took me a long time to read it, but yeah, Pet Sematary was another one I always remember in the movie story. And you mentioned like Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah. Fuck, man, I used to love doing that. They'd all be sitting there lying by, side by side and stuff. And it depended what year it was, back in 87, 88, all of them weren't out yet, and stuff. But that was always really cool to do. Another one that I always remember as a kid was Scanners. Dude, that dude, like, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because I had no idea. Actually, the first time I watched Scanners, I was really young, and I'll admit I pretty much had no idea what the fuck was going on. Like, I was so confused in that movie. I'm just like, what? They can, like, control people with their minds? I'm like, how the fuck does that work? I was so confused. But, yeah, I always remember the cover art for that one. I don't know, man. There's just so many.
Oh, it's so fun thinking about these, man.
The Dead Pit, I always remember as a kid, too. That was a fucking awesome cover art. Slaughter High was another one I remember seeing around. And
Sleepaway Camps were cool to see.
Sleepaway Camp, yeah. Fuck, that was everywhere, man. Oh, man. I remember renting copies of Sleepaway Camp as a child, or as a kid, and the copies being so fucking worn out.
Because people just rewind and...
Especially
that was a big,
at the reveal part.
Video.
Yeah.
Especially at the reveal part, man. Like, people must have rewound that part like thousands of times because it was so fucking washed out and you could barely even see it anymore. I'm like, is that a penis? I don't know. I can't tell. I can't fucking see.
This story before.
Yeah, man. Like, it was so funny, man. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
And what sucks most about, this conversation is the fact that, unless you're dealing with like a retro releasing company or like somebody who's trying to capture that vibe like on purpose, cover art is just gone and dead, man. It really is just like the effort is so decreased. And pretty soon
hand-drawn shit.
It's also because the market's a lot different. Back in the 80s and stuff, like a lot of these films that we know and love today, these movies were shot strictly for the video market, so the only way they could sell them was the cover arts.
Well, they lived and died by their cover art.
Exactly, that's what sold the film, man. Like, remember Cheerleader Camp? Remember the first time you seen Cheerleader Camp? Like,
that
movie looked so
girl's
fucking...
skull.
Listen,
The skull pom-poms, man.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, dude. I rented that movie just because of that, and I was like, this is awesome. There's lots of boobs in it.
There's stories of films that had cover art before there was even films. Like that, it still happens today. In certain cases, but
you create an entire movie just based on a concept
cover
cover art.
yeah. Charlie Band did that a lot, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Nail Gun Massacre, another one.
The worst era, even worse than this era, for cover art is definitely the 90s. The worst cover art. I mean, there was some gems there, but how many times can you see a list of faces, floating heads with cast? It started with Scream, and it kept going. And there's literally, dozens of these cover arts that are exact mimics of Screams. Hell, even Halloween, Resurrection, and H2O hold the same bullshit. It's crazy, dude. Listen, guys, anybody out there, go start looking through the cover arts of the 90s. They are all the goddamn same. It's insane. It's so bad. I hate that era. I hate that era of cover arts. It bugs the hell out of me.
I hate that era, period.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Oh, dude, how could I fucking forget? This one just came to mind, too. The Hills Have Eyes. Man, every time I see that cover art, man, it was like Michael Berryman. That guy. Like, I used to think as a kid he was wearing makeup.
Yeah, right?
Because he's so freaky looking on the cover. I'm like, holy fuck, man. Like, that guy's one freaky looking fucking dude. Yeah. Fucking Hills Have Eyes. Man, you could go on all night with this conversation.
One more.
So many fucking movies.
One more. Okay, so I was in probably 5th grade, and I was going to the video store. And I was I was staying at a friend's house. We rented some shit like Texas Chainsaw 2, Leprechaun, some other bullshit. And I seen what was a box cover of Freddy, but it wasn't the 6 films that I was familiar with, the 7 films that I was familiar with. It was something else. And we had already grabbed the films we was renting, and I wanted to look at it, but the mom was rushing me, so I left it there. And when I went back to that video store, it was one I barely went to. It was gone. And forever, I had no idea what that cover art was until years later. I was watching a YouTube video, and it was a VHS tape of Freddy's Nightmares, which I had no idea existed at the time. So I was like, there's another Elm Street film that I've never seen at another, video store. And it bugged me for years, dude. I did not know what the hell it was, because it was just Freddy, and I was like, what the hell is this? Is it another Elm Street film that I've never seen? Oh, it was great. The Legend of the Lost Freddy film.
Yeah, man. How can I forget House, too? House was another one.
Yeah, House is great. Yep. I rented House many a times. So yeah, I mean, that, like you said, it could go on and on. That was definitely a good topic. Thanks, Brandon. But you want to move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
All right. So we have one more voicemail that is also from Brandon.
Hey guys, it's Brandon calling in again. You're getting a double dose of me this week since my last message missed out for last week's podcast. I forgot about the scheduling change, so 2 messages this week. Hope you guys enjoyed the first one, the top 5 cover boxes. Very nostalgic question. I loved walking through the mom and pop video shops and checking them out. Unfortunately, that's going to be lost on the new generations of horror fans to come. But this week's question is more of a, it's more of a top 3 list. Not even a top 3, just 3 movies I'm going to mention that are undermentioned and hidden gems, as I'll call them, and must-sees. And I'd love to hear more people talk about these undermentioned, underappreciated films, because I like to check them out myself. And while none of these 3 are horror films, they all have elements of them that make them quite horrific. The first one is from 2002. It's a crime drama by Lucas Moodz. It's called Lilia Forever. I've seen this film mentioned a lot on most disturbing lists, and besides that, I don't really hear people talk about it, and it's an absolutely phenomenal film. The second film is a documentary, which is a crime drama called Dear Zachary from 2008, and this film is truly a must-see. It is an hour and a half long, and the first hour and 25 minutes is just a gut punch to the soul. It's that sad and depressing, but the last 5 minutes really is very uplifting, and it's really a film that all people should see. And the final film is actually one of my favorite films, period. And it's from the writer of The Exorcist, and I believe I sent you guys an email about this, but you could ignore that and just play it on here. It's a 1980 drama thriller called The Ninth Configuration by the writer of The Exorcist. And this film is just brilliant, and I love it, and I don't hear people talk about it. I just want to know if you guys have seen any of these, your thoughts on them, and any other suggestions for hidden gems. All right? Take care, guys. Talk to you next week. Bye.
So that's Brandon once again with another awesome voicemail. I've actually not seen any of those three films that he mentioned.
I haven't seen any of them. The only one I've heard of is Dear Zachary, though.
And a documentary sounds interesting.
Yeah, I've heard of that film. I haven't heard of the other ones, so unfortunately none of us can really comment on them, which sucks. But
you know, hidden gems is an interesting topic, and it's so weird because to you guys, I probably don't have any hidden gems, but to like random people I meet, like I have tons of hidden gems, but you fuckers out there have seen like every damn movie, and like I can't, like I don't have hidden gems for you guys because you've seen them all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know Mood's got some hidden gems. What you got?
I don't know. I mean, there's so many. Actually, one recently that I will actually, I'm just because I'm looking at my list right here. In my opinion, it kind of is because this is an anthology film I never hear anybody talk about. Actually, I'd never really seen or heard of this until I think it was about last year I came across it, and it just took me a long time to actually acquire it for my collection. And it's a anthology film called Trapped Ashes from 2006.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of that.
And, you know, and I'm really surprised that more people don't talk about this anthology film. And it's strictly due to the fact of, like, who is involved with the making of this film. Now, there's 5 shorts in this film. And one is directed by Sean Cunningham. Another one's directed...
My best friend.
Yeah. Another one's directed by Joe Dante.
I think you pronounced his name wrong.
Oh, stop being a bitch.
So we got Sean Cunningham, Joe Dante. You got Joe Guetta or something. He was the special effects visual for The Matrix, whatever. Branched out into the directorial thing. Monty Hellman, who directed Two Lane Blacktop, and of course would have been Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 4.
Yeah. Call back to last week. I did because I was like, Monty Hellman. Where does that sound familiar?
Yeah, and Ken Russell, who directed Altered States. So you look at these. 4 of the 5 guys are really pretty well known.
Ken Russell's awesome.
Yeah, great director, and like Sean Cunningham, you know, and his short in this anthology is quite interesting too because he directs kind of like an Asian style one. It's really fucking.
What's his segment about?
It's like, I can't quite exactly remember the full details of it, but it's about this Asian couple and stuff, and it takes place in Japan. But the thing about the whole short is it's like totally filmed like Asian style. Like you wouldn't even know that he would have ever directed this. Yeah, it's really fucking unique. Actually, his really sticks out in this anthology. But it's a really awesome anthology, and like, you know, me with anthologies, I always got to seek them all out. But I'm just surprised by the lineup of people on this, and no one really talks about this.
Yeah,
and it's really quite entertaining. You know, it's got one of those old school. Yeah, and it's got one of those old school feels where the film starts out with a guy doing a tour of this studio, and he's got a bunch of people like on his railroad car or whatever, and they're stopping at all these places and stuff. And then one of the people on the car goes, "Hey, what about up there? Can we go into that haunted house?" And the guy's like, "No, we can't go up there because it's off limits. The studio doesn't want it. People in there because bad things happen to people and stuff." And of course, the guests insist, and they go up there, and they get trapped in this house. They can't get out, and it's kind of like the old school telling where you have to tell a story yourself to get your way out of there and stuff. So you hear these 5 stories from these people and stuff, and it's really fucking cool, man. Like, you got Michael Ironside as like one of the guys in this film and stuff. Like, there's so many people in this shit. It's awesome.
Well, I think that is exactly what we was looking for when we said hidden gems. See, I don't have any of those. Good job.
I don't know why I said Michael. I meant John Saxon. I don't know why I said Michael Ironside. Yeah. But you know what I mean. But there's like lots of people on this, and it's just unique. It's really cool, man, because no one talks about it. But I don't know, man. There's probably lots of. I'm sure Jeremy has some too.
You know the one I always go to, which is kind of a weird one to go to since nobody can really see it. It's Mosquito. That is one of the best hidden gems there is because it's really hidden because nobody can see it.
Yeah, that sucks, man.
Yeah, but Mosquito, maybe Elves. That was a weird one. But guys, the El Rey Network actually played Elves on TV.
Really?
Yes, and I missed it. But how crazy is that? Oh man!
Did they play that shit like uncut, or how do they play that?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. Is El Rey one of those channels? I can't remember. No, I think it has to be cut a little bit.
Dr. Terror's House of Horrors is awesome. Dr. Terror's House. That's what it's called, right? It's the Anarchist anthology. Yeah. That movie's awesome.
I actually watched that about 3 weeks ago on the VHS that you sent me.
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah, actually, the quality of that tape's quite well.
Yeah,
it's quite good. Yeah, actually,
surprising.
Look too bad. Yeah. So.
Another one I'll go with is They Nest. It's a sci-fi movie from like 2002 or something. It's also known as like Creepy Crawlies or something. But it's actually a pretty damn okay little like bug film. For being like a sci-fi original. Like this was back when they actually like put effort into the sci-fi originals. That's another one that I'll give like a mediocre recommendation to. You might come away surprised and like it more than you would think you would.
I know a lot of people from the podcast group will know about this one, but I've talked about this film like a million times. But that Cemetery Gates, that film right there was like a total random find for me because I literally never seen anyone talk about it or show it or anything, and I was just buying up films one day and I bought it strictly based on the cover art, and it turned out to be like a fantastic film. And little did I know, I didn't even know that Reggie Bannister was starring in it. Popped it
and
in,
it's really cheap too.
Yeah, and it's like one of those things that I'm surprised that no one ever talks about because you can find it everywhere for cheap, and it's fucking random. So nobody wants to give it a shot, I guess. But yeah, it's fun.
All right, so I guess we'll move on to like the written questions now.
Yep.
All right, so I guess we should mention why we're not covering all the questions. So you will want to hit that.
Yeah. So I think that we are just going to do questions that are like not top fives this week. Solely because I don't know, I think we all got different reasons for it, but this week there was like a lot of questions.
Yeah.
But we feel that we want all three of us to be involved in questions and stuff instead of just listing off top fives, because when you have a lot of top five questions, just more discussions and stuff, because it does take a long time to put those things together and stuff. But we feel that just having a general conversation with all three people is a little more entertaining even for you guys.
Yeah.
So
as well
I think
as for us.
Yeah, as for us too. So I think that if you guys wouldn't mind just, giving questions instead of maybe top fives and stuff, so we can just have, an awesome conversation, that would be great.
Yeah, gear your questions more towards like a discussion type of question. Like the ones we just did are kind of like that,
Yeah.
And also we might plan on doing like actual like top 10 episodes of the type of questions that we've been asked in the past. So we kind of want to save those as well. Not to mention, we're starting to get a lot more questions, so we might have to limit the amount that we get every, the amount that we choose to answer.
That was kind of the main reason why we just went with the like group discussion questions, because we were just simply getting too many.
Yeah, like right? You skip 1 week for a franchise show, and all of a sudden you got a million questions. It's crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, we really don't want the Q&A going like an hour and a half, so we figured if we, kind of trim it down this week just to those ones, and then we'll kind of roll with that. I think that might work a lot better.
Also, we're starting to get asked questions that we've answered in previous shows, which is not your fault, because some of you guys haven't been with us from the beginning. Some of you guys probably haven't heard every episode, so how would you know which questions have been answered?
Exactly.
And probably some of you just forgot. So, this is another way to kind of regulate it where we don't feel obligated to answer every single question because we've already answered it or whatever. So we're kind of just going to pick, questions that we feel like will make good discussions or whatever. And also, we maybe might do like an entire show based on questions alone in the future. So, keep sending them, So we don't mind that you're sending them or anything. And don't ever feel like
don't get offended if we're not answering the question.
Because we're not. Yeah, exactly.
we do appreciate it. I mean,
we love it actually.
Yeah,
we just can't answer everyone every week now that it's got like crazy. Especially when we do like a franchise show, or if we skip a week or something, then all of a sudden we have 3 weeks worth of questions, which is like an hour and a half of the show. And we want to kind of keep everything trimmed down and nice and neat.
Exactly. So what do we got up first here?
The first one is, what movies have you seen that start off with one tone and end up with somewhat entirely different tone? Not talking about twists or anything like that or surprise endings, but just like a complete tonal shift. The one film that I always think of that applies to this is From Dusk Till Dawn. It's probably the film that's done it the best with a complete tone shift, because it's like a crime film into a straight up vampire horror film, like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The very first one I thought of was Possession from 1981. That movie starts out kind of like a drama almost, a couple just scrapping like shit, and then it just turns into something that's so fucking weird and bizarre.
Yeah, I have Alice on there too.
Alice, yeah.
Yeah. Because it totally starts out like, not too bad, and then the ending like totally switches from like a drama about a girl's downfall to like that shit crazy.
Yeah, I think it's in the same world though. You know what I mean? Like it's not that like I'm looking for like a complete shift in the tone. I mean, it is kind of, but like I try to think of films that are a little just more paradigm-y shift type.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if you've seen Possession, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've actually not seen that one.
It's like a complete switch. It's really fucking weird. I don't know, like complete 180 shifts.
It's a hard question.
It actually is a hard question.
Yeah,
I mean, because the first thing that's come to mind are so many films that just have like, kind of, I guess, twists and stuff that change the tone or the whole feel of the film or whatever you want to call it. But I don't know, man. I always refer to this one film, Frat House Massacre, being like, it's actually a really fucking good movie, man. Surprisingly long too. It's like almost runs 2 hours, but the first half of the film is like, it's basically almost like two different films. The first half follows the brother, and then the second half follows the other one and stuff. It's, it basically kind of feels like two different films, but actually really entertaining, good film.
Yeah, I don't think there's really been any as drastic as like From Dusk Till Dawn or anything. But there's some films that have like went super serious and then all of a sudden end up really comedic. Like I can't think of any offhand, but I know there's like a bunch out there where like I remember just it being like really serious and then it's just like, what the hell? It's funny all of a sudden? What's going on here?
So what would you rather have? Would you rather have a film start out, super serious and end up comedic, or start out comedic and then end up super serious?
Well, see, when it's really serious and ends up comedic, I kind of feel cheated, but if it's done the other way, I'm more surprised. I'm like, whoa, that just got serious. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. So, like any random Adam Sandler film from like the last few years. Fuck's sake.
Good man.
I was just thinking that movie Click, man. That movie.
That is like the greatest example of like
that movie is supposed to be a comedy, but it's like super dark and total fucks with you, and you're like, oh man, I
swear to God, dude. I watched that movie hungover as shit one day. I was like, I need something that's gonna like lighten the mood a bit. I watched freaking Click. And I'm like, haha, funny is just rewinding the dog peeing or whatever, pausing the dog, and then it's like just like sadness, depressing, like dread. That's how
unfunny Adam Sandler's become. That he can't even make a comedy that's even remotely funny. It's actually like drama serious.
Yeah, that was so bad. That was a good.
Funny People has to be the worst title ever for a film.
Yeah,
because that movie is fucking not funny.
Nah.
It's like super serious in tone and like, oh god, like come on, man. I don't know. Plus, that movie's way too fucking long.
Yeah, it is long.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Next up, we have a question that says, "What is your favorite type of performances by actors in full makeup?" Obviously, the big obvious one, right?
Yeah.
Freddy?
Yeah.
Robert Englund. That's obviously the first thing that came to my mind too. You know, honestly, the second one that came to my mind was fucking Michael Keaton in Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's a good one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fucking great performance, man. So, I mean, it's not necessarily straight up horror film, but it has horror elements, though. Come on.
Yeah. Beetlejuice is fun.
Yeah. I thought of Tim Curry, Pennywise.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Toxie, man.
Toxic, yeah. Which is so funny too, because like in the Toxic Avenger films, like the dude that's playing Toxie, like the voice it's like a different voice dubbed over.
Yeah.
It's actually like two people playing Toxie.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll even go with Jason Kane Hodder from Part 7. There's a real performance there, man.
You know, I never really thought of it like that, but interesting. If we want to stick in main franchises and stuff, Doug Bradley performance in Pinhead as Pinhead.
Yeah, definitely.
Creepy, man, creepy and good, real good.
Warwick Davis, Leprechaun in the Hood.
In the Hood. That's fucking awesome, man. I don't know if this one really counts as in makeup, but I guess it's like prosthetics and makeup because he looks completely fucking different. You wouldn't even know it was him. And that is Jeffrey Combs in the Masters of Horror episode, The Black Cat, where he plays Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, yeah.
Have you guys seen that episode?
Mm-hmm.
Holy fuck, man.
I thought of the episode from season 2 of Tales from the Crypt with Demi Moore.
I love that episode.
Yeah, where she yeah.
It's
the first episode, Dead Right.
Yeah, she gets the fortune teller and stuff.
Yeah, with Jeffrey Tambor, who's like the fat.
Oh, the guy. Fat. Oh, that episode's fucking nasty.
I love that episode.
Yeah.
So you guys haven't seen the Black Cat episode?
No.
Where Jeffrey Combs plays Edgar Allan Poe? Fuck, man. The makeup and prosthetics that they put on his face it's fucking amazing what they did for like a Masters of Horror episode. Like he looks exactly like Edgar Allan Poe. It's fucked. It's really crazy. But anyways, his performance, fucking top shelf, man.
Oh.
Amazing. So great.
All right, so the next question is, do you guys know of any Asian slasher films? If not, do you think they should be made? And I don't know of any, but sure, why not? Go ahead, make them.
Man, all I could think of was like 4. Like...
Only 4.
Well, I mean, I was making this part of my list at like fucking 5 in the morning, so it's kind of going through the collection. And the only ones I could think of were Death Bell, which can be considered a slasher. Dream Home, I guess you can consider a slasher.
You fucker.
Macabre.
That's fucking my segment, you asshole.
What's that?
Dream Home.
Oh, and Bloody Reunion. Honestly, man, they don't make a lot of slasher films.
Yeah.
Asians do not make slasher films. It's fucking interesting. So I went online and I was like, fuck, man. There was a few more lists on there that I'd never seen before, but yeah, they don't make a lot of slasher flicks, man.
Yeah, you know, slasher is very American because normally it has to do with, you know, teenagers and a very American style of, you know, the way that teenagers
well, you don't have to keep
portrayed.
emphasizing American because there's a lot of Canadian slashers too.
Well, you know what I mean. That pretty much the same thing.
But no, I'm just bugging.
Yeah, but you know, like I think it's just a cultural difference, right? Like little Asian girls probably act a little different than slutty American teenage girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's that whole culture thing, you know. They're like, you know, very culturalized and stuff like that. And I mean, maybe that's where the ghostly shit comes in.
Yeah,
because you know, it's all their beliefs and their religions and stuff, and you know, it just kind of comes full circle with the ghostlies, and I guess that's why they're good at them. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they've done a lot of you know, Asian ghost stories, like tons. Mm-hmm. So
I mean, really, some of the best.
That's like their slasher.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So if you look at it that way, they've made a ton of slashers.
Mm-hmm. And like most of the ones I even listed off too are not like the American or North American standard of slasher films. These ones are like their kind of way of doing it.
Yeah,
it's not that same formula. It's a little different. So that's why I said, well, you can kind of consider these slashers. So, but yeah, I mean, I would love to see just like a full blown like out in the woods fucking slasher film.
Yeah, definitely.
That'd be fucking gnarly.
I'm down.
Yeah.
So after that, Matt asks us, do you guys think that all DVDs and Blu-rays should go region free? What are your thoughts about movies that the only way to get them is in a different region? Guess I'll go first. One, I actually hate buying region 2, region whatever. I hate it. I can't stand it. Like, it actually annoys me. It's kind of a pet peeve. Like, really, like, I can't really think of a reason why I don't like it, but it almost just feels like it's like a waste of resource and money, and it's just like, come on, this shouldn't exist. To have to buy like a Blu-ray player to play region-free stuff, or to, it's just, I don't like the idea of it. I also don't like just the price difference. Like, if I was living, here and I bought it, it would be way cheaper. But since I'm way over here, now I have to pay a bunch of extra money. I guess Moodz is kind of used to that type of shit. But, as far as do we think that they should go region free, like everything, I'm pretty sure it's like illegal.
It's totally a rights thing. And when I first read the question, I was like, well, it'd be super nice to have everybody in the world on, same region stuff, but it's like a rights thing.
Yeah, because
so
Anchor Bay US might own a film, but Anchor Bay UK doesn't own the distribution rights to that film. So therefore, if they release a US region free, I think it kind of screws up whoever owns the rights over in the UK, because they're like, hey, well, you're technically just releasing it over here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's totally a rights thing, which is unfortunate. But
sometimes they get around it. Like 88 Films, I noticed, some of their releases are region free, right?
88 Films? Yeah, I think most of them are, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like how Arrow Video started out. All the releases were region free and stuff, and now
until they started getting really popular, and then some of the people who own the rights over here was like, this is some bullshit. That's what happened. That's why they changed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's gonna be really nice when they come over to North America. That's gonna be awesome.
That will be nice. They have a new company.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they're not the first ones.
Yeah.
By far. I mean, like Raro Video is an Italian company that has an American distribution now. Like all the Raro Videos that I buy are the American ones. Right? Yeah. It's an Italian company. So they came over and no one ever talks about them, unfortunately. But no, I mean, the region thing, I understand people's, point and stuff, but I mean, it's not really that hard to get your hands on a region free player. But yeah, the cost of importing.
They're expensive though, region free.
Yeah,
Blu-ray players, not DVD players, Blu-ray players.
Yeah, I mean, it was. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't too bad, but
they're getting cheaper.
It's the importing thing, though. You know, the conversion rates and shit are just horrible.
It's
I think
so
that's what
annoying.
really offsets. Yeah, that's what a lot of people don't like. So,
and I know also that if I break down and get this super stacked edition of this UK release. If I do it once, then I know I'm going to be like tempted to just spend, like, it's going to end up being like a huge mess where I can't decide like what I want to purchase. I just can't do that. I don't want to have to go down that road. I'll just buy the American releases, and hopefully it eventually gets released in America, which it probably will. Like, I'm still waiting on the Howling 7 or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Just like recently, I'm just like, man, Cult Epics releases Nekromantik. And then Arrow releases their Nekromantik.
Yeah, but theirs is awesome.
Have you seen Arrow's release of Nekromantik?
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
It makes Cult Epic's release look like a piece of shit, man.
Yeah.
It really does. Like, Arrow's release is fucking nice. Like, it comes with so much shit. 3 discs, like, all this extra shit, man. Fucking nice.
Yeah, it is nice.
But, I mean, from collectors' point of views, I understand why people do want to import those things. Like, I mean, when Arrow released Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 in that ridiculous set,
yeah,
I had no choice but to get that. I was like, that is fucking amazing. Like, you know, especially since TCM had been released over here, bare bones Blu-ray, shitty cover art, fucking blah, blah, blah. You know, they go out of their way and do this, and I'm like, man, I gotta have that. You know?
But my question to you is, have you even checked out the special features on that disc?
Yeah, I watched a bunch of them, actually.
All right,
Pretty
because
cool stuff. I watched the short films, too, which is interesting.
I know there's people who will make a big deal about Arrow's release of Nekromantik compared to Cult Epics, but they won't ever check out any of the features or anything. And it's like, well, what the hell's the point of being, you know, a super fan of this edition if you're literally getting the same enjoyment out of it as this edition? Like that's when I get kind of annoyed at people that fight about editions. It's like, well, do you even watch the special features? Like, do you even buy it for that reason?
I think it's different for everybody. I think, you know, it's the collector and people too.
Yeah.
You know, that's just a really collector's type of edition, right? It's just,
which I'm not one of those. I'm not one of those like hardcore collectors who needs like every edition of Halloween and shit like that.
Yeah, like there's different levels of collectors, right? Like,
and I understand,
some people felt like they didn't have to go for the, you know, the big Nightbreed box set and stuff, which is cool, man. They went with the single edition, not a big deal at all.
Yeah, but
you know,
I'm a big fan of the special features, so if the Nightbreed limited edition has more special features, I might actually go for something like that. But I do understand also, like your favorite film, Maniac. You collect like every edition you could get your hands on. I totally get that because it's your prime piece in your collection. It's like your favorite film. So I get that. But like I can't collect like just to have, you know, this edition and that edition. It's too time consuming, space consuming, and money consuming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like everyone's different, man. Like, I mean, one thing that really kind of bugs me that I will admit, I won't mention any names, but there is a lot of YouTubers out there and stuff that I'll watch, and I predominantly find this with hardbox collectors. Now, hardboxes are for the most part made in Europe, right? And you get a lot of releases over there that don't even have English audio on American films and whatnot and stuff. So, I mean, whatever, you know,
I'm totally with you on that. I don't get that at all, where you're just buying like this edition of something that you can't even watch it. Okay.
Well, that's my point. Like, see, at least when I buy my editions, like I don't have any editions that are still like factory sealed. Like I buy them to watch them too, right? But you know, this is where I find with hardbox collectors is that they'll import hardboxes. They don't even have, you know, English audio on them. So they're really just buying these things just to have, which, I mean, you know, that's fine if that's what you do, but you can't even ever watch the film though. It has like German language. Like, you're not going to pop that in, you know, it kind of annoys me a little bit, and I'm just like,
it does to me too. Well, it doesn't annoy me. It's just, I'm so different from that it kind of just is odd to me. It's like essentially collecting action figures and never opening, where it's literally just a collection at that point. But it's like, I don't understand. It's like, why not collect something else? Like the reason we started collecting films in the first place is because we love horror. We love the films. We love them. So my watching comes first. Collecting is always second to me. Like if my collection completely disappeared, if they stopped making DVDs today, I would still watch just as many horror films. And that's kind of the difference, is when you have the like hardbox collectors, they're in it like as like Hot Wheels collectors, you know, just to get like all these different editions and stuff. And it's less about the actual film and more about like the hunting and the collecting of of like different editions, and not really about the film anymore.
Yeah, I think
with whatever floats your boat. I don't know.
Yeah, I think with hardboxes too, it's just so hard to get to. Like a lot of those, you know, those companies like 84 Films, or was it 84 Entertainment? You know, they limit their stuff anywhere from like 50 to like 120 copies or whatever. So if you're a hardbox collector, you got to jump on that, and you don't really care what you're getting. You're just fucking getting them all.
Yeah, but when they start doing that, where there's like 80 different editions of this film that was released through all these different companies that have like 20 that like this one only had 20 made, this one only had 120 made. It kind of devalues the whole idea of these limited editions to begin with.
Well, I think with the hard boxes though, I think it's because it's more expensive to produce them.
Yeah.
Right. So if they do like mass, you know, production of them or whatever, it's just potentially could be disastrous, you know, if they're not selling properly, right? It's that whole limited thing, man. You know, people are like, 120, you got to get your fucking hands on that. But if it doesn't say limited, I don't know. I think it's a lot different, so they're probably not going to sell. It's just the
Yeah,
collector and people,
you're right.
I guess.
I mean,
you know,
I have literally like no interest in collecting those type of releases, just because like I just want a release that I can watch, and a release that like I just need a solid release for like every film that I love. Like I don't need the best release unless it's a film I really really love, but I just need a solid release that I'm going to be happy with. I don't need every release, or I don't need to upgrade. If I have a solid release of, you know, this film on DVD or whatever, I don't necessarily need to upgrade to the Blu-ray or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way with Blu-ray too, though. I don't upgrade like a lot of the films. Like, someone actually asked me the other day if I was going to upgrade Mortuary, because I buy like pretty much everything Scorpion, and I was like, you know what, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I mean,
because
even
it's
though
hard to
I
get,
know,
right?
Well, it's not even that. I mean, it is a limited Blu-ray. I think it's limited to 12 or 1,500 copies or whatever. But it's not the point, man. I have the DVD, and I don't feel the need to. I already have the Scorpion DVD, and I'm like, I don't feel the need to upgrade to Blu-ray. I'm like, I'm not really the hugest fan of the film. And same with Don't Answer the Phone. And like, I'm just like, okay.
The upgrade has to be worth it, right?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I mean, if these movies came out on Blu-ray first, I would, probably would have bought them, obviously. But I'm just not upgrading just because, I'm really getting tired of that and stuff. So
yeah, like I mean,
spend my money on films I don't actually have. So,
like for example, like Madman, like that release that Vinegar Syndrome is going to do, that Blu-ray release. That if I owned the original Anchor Bay or the Code Red that came out or whatever, like that's something that I would consider upgrading. If I like that film. I've actually never seen it, but because I've heard like the prints on the other two releases are not that good.
No, they're not good, man. I have the Anchor Bay one, and the print's pretty shitty. It's like a really odd, like, it's not. I guess it's like a letterbox ratio. I think it's like a letterbox, but it's like really, it's weird. And the Code Red one is just shitty. Like, that was such a sought out fucking DVD, and I don't know what the fuck people were thinking, because it's a really, really bad print. And there's actually a scene missing out of that film that's not even a gore scene or anything. It's like a jump scare scene that's actually missing from the Code Red release. And I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with that company, man? But I know it is weird, actually. It's really strange. And it might have just been the print that they used or something. Maybe by chance it was cut out. I don't know what the fuck happened. But yeah. And plus the print on the Code Red one is... the colors are all fucked and it's really scratchy, and oh man, that Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm really digging Vinegar Syndrome, and this is a great title for them to pick up. It's one that people I think both versions are out of print now, right? The Code Red and the so I mean, like, it's a great title to pick up. It's a slasher that everybody's kind of familiar with from that era, that you kind of just need to get your hands on if you want to be a slasher fan. So I'm really excited for that release. I can't wait.
Yeah, I think they'll do it a good job too, because Madman's one of those films that has a really interesting hue to the film. It kind of looks bluish gray. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right? And I think that Vinegar Syndrome, them doing such good transfers on their their older films, I think they might be able to hold that quality, which is going to be cool. So I can't wait for that release, actually. That's one I'll definitely be upgrading. I'll probably get rid of my Code Red DVD just so I don't fucking have it anymore. It's a piece of shit. 30th anniversary bullshit. Fuck. Yeah. I remember that shit was going for... I remember seeing copies on eBay for like $70, $80, and I'm like, people are paying this? Oh, it's so bad.
That's insane.
Oh, yeah, fuck. Definitely. And then actually, they re-released it too. They came all... I don't know if they re-released or he said that he found a bunch more copies, which is such a crock of shit. But it was back on the site there, and then all of a sudden the prices dropped, and it's fucking bullshit.
All right,
it just drives me nuts.
So I guess that wraps it up on that question.
Yeah, I guess so. What was the question again?
That was the region-free question, stuff like that. We went into multiple tangents there, but
basically what it comes down to is that it would be super nice in a perfect world if everything was region 0, all region or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
But it's just not going to happen.
Unfortunately, it just can't happen. Actually, it's just a rights thing, right? So
it's like
it's just not going to happen,
right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So that actually wraps it up for the questions.
Okay, sounds good. Coolio. All right. Alrighty, so getting into the Coroner's Report, weird stats and morbid facts courtesy of Rue Morgue. And today's weird fact is coming from the December 2012 issue. And that was the issue that they covered Nightbreed, the Cabal cut. It was still the Cabal cut at that time. Yeah. But I don't remember which one I was going to do. You guys know? No, you don't know.
No.
I actually, just reading through, I just grabbed a random magazine and just grabbed this, and I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. You guys probably know this, but I always found it kind of an interesting fact. Anyways, unlike her famous role as Carrie in the 1976 film of the same name, Sissy Spacek was legitimately voted homecoming queen at her high school. Of course.
Of course.
Right?
I actually didn't know that, but that is fucking cool, man. That's a cool little fact to know.
I know.
Because Sissy Spacek's not, like, extremely beautiful or anything. You know what I mean?
That's why.
Definitely.
That's exactly why I think that she played. Like it was great casting.
Yeah.
You know, because she kind of looks homely. Like it just looked perfect, and she had the perfect face for that. But
I love Carrie so much, man. That sucks that Scream Factory was never able to release that Blu-ray.
Yeah, I can imagine the cover art.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Carrie is easily like cracking into my top of all time. Like,
so what is the double feature that they're releasing again?
Carrie, the TV remake, and then the sequel to the original Carrie. I think.
Carrie to the Rage.
It's funny.
It is. It's weird.
That is a weird double feature.
But you know, I mean, like every time I watch Carrie, I just like it more and more, and that's a cool little fact to know. I can't believe I didn't know that.
Yeah, I thought it was, you know, one that people probably wouldn't know out there, but I had to say it was just interesting. Plus, it was one of the better ones on there, so...
Yeah, that was a pretty cool Coroner's Report.
Alrighty, so that's going to wrap up Mood Swings, and yeah, we're going to get into the WWW, what we watched this week. Yeah, so who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Alright, so the first flick I watched for this week's What We Watched. It's a film from 2014 released by Image, and it's titled Aftermath. Now, this is a interesting post-apocalyptic film, I suppose you could say.
This is the gas mask cover, right?
Correct. So, in the film, we follow our main character, who is a doctor who is about to go to medical school, and the world is going to shit, and everyone is, all the different countries are fighting with each other, and one day someone started to drop atomic bombs all over the United States. So we follow this doctor and this woman that he picks up as they attempt to find shelter because the radiation from these atomic bombs are causing serious side effects in the people who were near the blast. So they find this farmhouse with this cellar, and they go down there with this family, which includes Eddie Furlong's character, who, he is a pretty over-the-top, not very good actor, and he is pretty much the worst part of the film, to be completely honest. I think his acting's terrible, and his character is pretty boring, but besides that, the entire film takes place in this cellar, and as these people are trying to survive down there with everything that they were able to bring down there when they initially went down, because if they went back up, they wouldn't be able to stay up there for too long without, having their hair fall out and shit like that. That comes with radiation. Now, this movie is interesting. It's not the best film that I've seen where people are stuck in like in a basement type thing, like The Divide and other films like that. But for what it was a lot better than I thought it would be, to be completely honest. It was intriguing, and it held my interest for the 92-minute runtime. So, don't judge by the cover, because the cover is pretty shitty, and the synopsis is pretty shitty also. But it's an interesting post-apocalyptic film, like I said, even though it really doesn't take place in the wasteland, but it has that same setting and things like that. It's alright. I give it a 5.5 out of 10.
5.5?
Yep.
A little above average.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those movies that, Well, in fact, I did walk right by.
Yeah, I've walked by multiple times because you know why? That movie and another movie like Toxin or Toxic or something have the exact same goddamn cover art, the exact same font color, and the exact same like look.
All these movies come out at the same time. Didn't like Hazmat come out at the same time too? I think that was another one that was around the same time. Fuck, man, and that was bad because I talked about that one on the cast. Yeah, remember we were making fun of it in the releases, and then of course my dumb fucking stupid ass went and bought the motherfucker, and my dumb stupid fucking ass had to watch the motherfucker. Jesus, dude, I don't know why I subject myself to such torture, but that was a shit film.
It's like you have mediocre films copying, like mediocre films. Like it's no longer like Asylum like copying like the big blockbuster coming out. Like now you just have Lucky McKee's coming out with a cheerleader film and they're dying. Let's make a one about varsity blood. It's just like they're the same damn and they come out like a week apart. It's so crazy.
So ridiculous.
It is.
Yeah. All right. So, first film here I'm going to talk about tonight is, and of course it's an anthology film because I'm fucking obsessed with anthology films. This one is from 2014, released by Camp Motion Pictures. Yay! I love Camp Motion Pictures, one of my favorite companies. And you guys are probably going to get to know them real fast too, if the poll goes the way it's going right now.
Yeah.
But anyways, from 2014, and this one's called Night Terrors.
Night Terrors!
Night Terrors! Yeah, I had to grab this one because, of course, it's got a fucking evil-looking Santa Claus on the cover. When I first popped it in, the first story actually revolves around Christmas, but it is unfortunately the only one that is Christmas related, but so I was kind of disappointed in that fact because at first I thought it was going to be, 3 kind of Christmas related shorts and stuff, but at the same time, whatever. It doesn't really matter. So it starts out with a wraparound story. It's a girl basically who's stuck at home having to watch her younger brother. And of course, she's got to miss a party because she has no choice. Her parents are making her watch her younger brother. Younger brother does not want to sleep, so she proceeds to tell him some nasty stories. Yeah, of course, your very typical setup. But it works, though, right? We've seen this before. The first story is called Massacre on 34th Street. Haha, that's clever, isn't it? Massacre. And it, of course, is about a fucking deranged killer. There's really no rhyme to the reason here. It's some dude dressed up in a Santa Claus suit, starts hacking at people on the streets, and then makes his way to this house where these punks are staying. And I mean punks, like they look like real punks. They're actually living and they're living in this house and their power's been shut off, and so they're all cold and shit, and the house is all tagged up and whatnot. And anyways, he proceeds to go over there and just hacks the shit out of them. So, Massacre on 34th Street. I thought the short was actually pretty good. The acting's fucking terrible. It's really flat and bland and boring, but the effects, man, the fucking gore effects were really good though, man. It's fucking nasty gore. Entertaining, for what it was pretty good. And then into the second story, it's called Baby Killer. It's about a professor, he's like a doctor type professor, whatever. His daughter is unfortunately dying of cancer. She's terminally ill, and he's basically he's decided that he's going to go to any extreme level to save his daughter. So he starts doing experiments like on little things and whatnot. Things start going missing from this university. None of the shit that he's doing experiments on is fucking working. So then he resolves to kidnapping. He kidnaps kids and kills them and does experiments and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty fucking nasty. There's some really like holy shit fucking parts in this short, man. Like, I wish I could say it without I don't want to spoil it, but it was like holy fuck, man. Fucking brutal, but so I actually thought it was pretty good. The acting was better in this short. The gore effects and the shock value was definitely there. Pretty fucking entertaining. Liked it. And the third one's called Abstinence. Fuck, can't say that word. It's basically about essentially like a flesh-eating kind of disease that is spread through people having sex. So it's kind of a comical take on zombieism, I guess. So people start, having sex and, transmitting this fucking flesh-eating disorder and stuff. And it's basically kind of like a zom-com, but it's like not like stupid, silly and shit. I like the idea of that, the flesh-eating, virus being spread through sex. It wasn't, through a chemical spill or some fucking radiation or sex, and of course it's like on a college campus and whatnot and stuff. This short was really fucking fun, man. Really good stuff. Some really nasty shit in it too. Had a lot of fun with it, but overall, a really good, surprisingly good anthology film. Now, the cool thing about this anthology film is that, they threw in the digital effects not digital effects, but, they kind of made it look like an old VHS tape. So, the quality go all shitty and stuff like that. And there's even parts where like, when you're watching like an old VHS tape and what you've recorded over sometimes comes through. Yeah. Well, that would happen every once in a while.
Yeah, that's real bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah. They would actually do that. And especially in the abstinence one, there was a part in the abstinence one where, you're watching and the quality starts going all shitty like they do on VHS tapes. And I was actually really enjoying it. I was kind of waiting for it to get all fucked up and stuff. I was enjoying it. I was having fun with that. And, but of course it was, taped over a porno. So the porno scene comes through. And yeah, this chick's face is like being covered in cum. It was pretty funny, man. I was like, what the fuck? So there was like a bunch of what the fuck moments in this anthology, but you're like kind of laughing and shit. But overall, really good, man. Really quite surprisingly awesome. I give this one about a 7.5. Like I said, the acting really does, kind of hurt it and stuff. But, the shorts themselves, they're even not that original, but they're definitely entertaining and it really did work. I thought the whole thing was put together really well. So, yeah, I give it about a 7.5. Definitely recommend it.
Nice. That was one that I was pretty curious about simply because of the cover when we was going through the releases a couple weeks ago. So, yeah, I'm going to give that one a shot. I guess I'll get into my first film, and this one is from New Zealand from the year 2014. It's kind of been making a bit of noise on the group page and in the community in general, and that is Housebound. This one follows a young woman who is kind of on a bad path. She gets caught trying to rob an ATM. And she's basically put on house arrest and has to return to her home where her mother, who's kind of this blabbermouth, lives and is convinced that the house is haunted. The girl eventually tries to look into some weird shit going on into the house, and she is helped by like a security policeman type deal guy who's supposed to monitor her house arrest. And she finds out that somebody was murdered in her house and that there's a creepy neighbor next door, and that, what's up with this ghost or what's going on, and, stuff really might not be as it seems, or it might be exactly how it seems. And that's kind of the fun of the film. This one is obviously, if you know anything about it, it says right on the cover, brilliant horror comedy or whatever. And you guys know my opinions on comedies and horror. And
I think that was kind of misquoted though, because I think it should say dark comedy.
It does say dark comedy or whatever.
Oh.
I think it does. I'm not sure, but yeah, you're absolutely right. It's definitely like a dark comedy, which I actually do enjoy. Texas Chainsaw 2 is one of the blacker horror comedies, like in terms of its tone, and this one kind of is in the vein of that. I actually just really like the unpredictability of this one as well. There's some genuinely funny moments, and there's actually like some genuinely creepy moments. There's one moment that actually kind of just was like, ugh, like, I don't know, it was like just real weird to me. But yeah, I really liked the whole way that this one played out. I especially like just the story in general, because it really wasn't kind of like, I couldn't call it, you know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, it's definitely solid. I don't want to go into it too much in case we talk about it sometime later in the year. But yeah, I give it about a 7.5 out of 10.
You know what really sells the film to me?
What's that?
Is the lead's actress. I don't know what her name is, but she's fucking awesome in this film, man.
Yeah,
I thought the mom was great too, but she's great though, man, because like just her facial expressions, even when she's like trying to be funny and stuff, it's like everything just comes off so good.
You know what, man? I mean,
the way she delivers everything, she sounds super angry, but like I don't know, man.
Well,
it just really
she's a
works.
little bitch.
Yeah.
But,
totally.
you know, I definitely fits the character, and I'm right with you. I mean, I think that everybody did a good job in this film, including the stepdad, including the, like, cop who, you know, as soon as there's one, like, perfectly timed, comedic, tone type thing that just comes, it's like perfectly timed, and that's when they're first like talking to the cop, and she's like, "Hey, you're gonna think I'm crazy, but you know I think the house is haunted or whatever," and he just pulls out that tape recorder and he's like he got all
I know, man.
shit. Like I was laughing, I was like, that's good comedic timing. Like I that's what I like to see in my black horror comedies. And I actually really enjoyed the comedic moments to this film because they were really funny. Like, I laughed a lot in this film.
It's because it wasn't slapstick, man. Like, you know, you kind of have to understand the jokes and just, it was all in delivery too, like the way they were doing it. And I was just like, it was fucking working so well. Those actors pulled it off so well.
This is the perfect example of my kind of horror comedy. And it's like Return of the Living
Me too, man.
Dead.
I really enjoyed that, yeah.
It's like Return of the Living Dead, Texas Chainsaw 2. It's where if I was a kid and the jokes, I wouldn't get the jokes. Like I would never even get any of the jokes, and it wouldn't even be a comedy to me. Like you can watch this film, and you know if you're a certain kind of person, a lot of the funny moments could fly right over your head. You just won't and I like that kind of comedy where it's not in your face.
I kept getting this really odd vibe. I know because it's an Australian flick, but it just kept reminded me of like, I don't know what it was, but it had like this weird tone, like the Frighteners / like Dead Alive for some reason.
It totally does. It's just like that New Zealand style. Like,
yeah, man, it was totally fit that mold so perfectly.
It's the way the houses look and the way that like, just like the way that people like say things, like. And I just, you know, there's a lot of like closets and doors in this house, and that was that. And I don't even know if that was awesome. Supposed to be like that funny of a thing. But every time somebody like opened up a closet, like the one door that comes open, and then there's another door.
I know, right? I just like how like in between everything is so big though. Like, you know, in the pantry and stuff, like.
Yeah,
you know, like the way those houses are built are so different.
Yeah,
than here.
And I think that's
don't come across houses like that.
I think that's what like lends to that New Zealand feel also, which you know, man, I really like. This is a good watch. It really is. Like this was a nice like film that kind of came out at the end of the year this year.
I know, man. I'm just thinking of the part when the security guy's like. He's basically telling her that, you know, towards the end there, and he's like, yeah, you can keep your bracelet, your house arrest bracelet as a souvenir. Just the way she looks at him.
Yeah.
I'm just like, who the fuck would want to keep that as a souvenir? But she did, she's so funny, man. She doesn't even have to say anything, and she's pulling off comedy like great, man.
You know, and I actually wasn't even, like, I actually didn't feel like, like going into this one, the brief thing I knew about it, like I knew people were liking it and stuff, but I was under the impression that it was a straight up horror film until I sent you that picture of the quote on the cover when I seen it at Walmart. And I was actually going in like a little less excited than I was when I just thought it was a horror film. And I actually, you know, like that's why you never judge a film before you see it. And you know, I was almost expecting to not like this one just by the way people were talking about it, but I'm glad that I really didn't like, you know, fully expect that, because you know, that would be bad. And I really much enjoyed this one.
Yeah, basically all I said was I thought it was like that was the perfect way of doing a dark comedy.
Oh yeah,
that was like the best way I could describe it, because and I you know kind of put emphasis on the dark, because you know if you just you know call it a horror comedy, I think it's a little off-putting to some people, but as a dark comedy, yeah, that's where it's at.
Yeah, and it definitely fits that very well, like the other films that I mentioned, and that is my absolute favorite kind of mixing of the two genres.
Yeah, great flick. All right, Jeremy, you're up.
Oh wow! All right. So the next film I'm going to talk about is a French film from that was filmed between 1915 and 1916, and it is a 10-part serial from the wonderful country of France titled Les Vampires. Now, like I said, this came out really, really early in the narrative style of film. And like I said in my review of Eyes Without a Face on Body Bags, France knew their shit straight from the beginning of the creation of cinema. And this film definitely shows their capabilities and their impressive nature that we would soon see later on in the history of cinema, especially in France. So, like I said, this is a 10-part serial that began in 1915 and finished up in 1916. Runs a little bit over 6 hours, which is why I don't have too many films that I watched this week, because I mainly focused on this one. So, film basically, it's a pretty simple story. Film basically follows this journalist who is trying to expose this gang of misfits called the Les Vampires, or they're just called vampires, which is what they call it, because they dress in these black suits. They're like spandex suits, and they're dressed in head to toe the black. So it's basically this journalist trying to solve these things that have been happening around France and to expose this gang. Like I said, it's not very intriguing story-wise, but for 1915 and 16, the set pieces and the way that the French were able to piece this together definitely made this film a extremely intriguing film to watch in the history of the horror genre in general. Like I said, it's long, but if you have the time to sit through it and really pay attention and observe the things that are going on, you will truly understand the brilliance and the beauty of this film.
How long is it?
A little over 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But it really flies past. Like, it's broken up into 10 episodes, I guess you could say, and some are longer than others. You know, some are 10 minutes long, but you know, others could be an hour and a half long, and each one basically just has like a little piece of this guy trying to show the world about this gang. And like I said, each part is like broken up to a little episode, and it each has a beginning, a middle, and an end, but it just continues on the next episode and things like that. But like I said, the set pieces are really, really fantastic, and even back then in 1915 and 1916, I still stand by the statement that the French are the best filmmakers in the world, and I'll probably hold that statement until the day I die, because they are truly remarkable. And if you could pick this film up, I highly recommend it. It's released by Kino, so it's not the cheapest.
What was the title again?
Les Vampires, from the year 1915 and 1916.
Mm-hmm.
So pick it up. It's really
you can always trust Kino, though, man. They always put out good stuff.
Yeah, and the way they clean this up is fucking fantastic. I mean, the film is 100 years old, and they were able to take
That's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, when you put it in that perspective, yeah. Wow. A whole century. It's a whole century
old.
Yeah,
it's very groundbreaking, and very groundbreaking for the time, because they're really, really able to put out a really, really interesting story. And to really think about it, it's fucking hard to make a 6.5 hour long film. But especially, even today it's hard to do that, but especially in 1915.
I feel sorry for that editor.
Where the art form is like just over 20 years old, just film in general, not even narrative storytelling, which is only at this time about, 12 years old or so, because George Méliès is, started getting narrative films in 1902, I think, with The Haunted Castle, which is really interesting. Horror film, which is really the first horror short film, which it's not very good, but It's like I said, very awesome film. Check it out if you have time. It's long. I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Awesome. Definitely, like, is interesting sounding. Like, that's some historical shit that, like, I feel like to be a, you know, completist eventually, you gotta check out stuff like that.
France is the shit.
Cool. All right, so next up here, another film from 2014, directed by our buddy Ryan Nicholson, and it is called Caller. I actually just watched this one today. I actually forgot I had it sitting there, and I was like, because I generally put films down on a list that I need to watch before the end of 2014, from 2014, and I didn't have this one on there. I think I remembered, so... But anyways, this one's called Caller. This one kind of centers around a bunch of different characters that all kind of end up coming together. Basically, you got these two fucking assholes that are out in the streets, basically. You guys remember that shit with the bum fights? Remember bum fights?
Bum fights.
Well, this is kind of what they're doing out in the streets. They're paying these guys to fucking, fight each other because they just want to film it. They want to just film a bunch of shit and just get famous or just being douchebags. Anyways, it kind of gets nuts with these two fucking bums. Like the one guy's filming, gives this other bum like a broken bottle and he fucking stabs him in the neck and he like kills him and shit. And they're like, yeah, that's fucking awesome. So they're all pumped up and they're like, yeah, man, we're going to make some fucking awesome movies and lots of money off this bullshit and stuff. Meanwhile, while they're doing their thing, you got this fucking crazy ass satanic motherfucker named Massive, and he's like in this like shack type deal, and he's like abducting people and tearing them apart and fucking ripping their hearts out and like eating them and shit. Really fucking bizarre. Then you got these cops and stuff. This girl, she's like a rookie cop, just started being a cop and whatnot. Anyways, they get called out to, basically where Massive's place is, and he is like kind of just killed somebody, and this hooker, she actually gets away and contacts her fucking brother or pimp and stuff like that and whatnot. Anyways, the police, they go to investigate, and the cop, the girl, she ends up getting abducted by Massive. Anyways, these two guys that were filming these bum fights come across this shack and they start filming this bullshit. So this is how everyone kind of comes together and stuff like that. Anyways, so they start filming, Massive raping this cop and doing like all this crazy shit. And they actually get involved. It gets to the point where, the one guy, he starts filming Massive and he starts telling him what to do, and they start doing like all this crazy shit. It's a fucked up film, man. Really, really crazy shit. So it's basically, that's what's going on and stuff, just a whole pile of mean-spirited shit. But I got to say, in great Ryan Nicholson fashion, there's some fucking awesome gore in this film, man, and some really unique kills, too. There's one kill in this film that I was like, damn, I've never seen that before. And then what he does after he kills the chick, I was like, fuck yeah, that's awesome. Very Ryan Nicholson, great score in the film, really enjoyed the score. The sets are awesome. It's all filmed in Vancouver. I can tell. I could pick out places where he'd filmed. It was pretty awesome. But pretty, some of the same actors that he uses in this film, but this one has a really dark tone to it. I don't think it's for everybody, because it's like, and it's really short too. It only runs about 75, 77 minutes, but it's really kind of dark and different. There's like no comedy to this really at all. It's just
Are you
dark.
describing something that I would like?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? Like some of his films, like he can have those moments and stuff, but this one is really kind of dark tone because it's just what's going on with this Massive guy. Like he's literally ripping people's hearts out and like eating them. He's kind of, so I guess in a sense he's like, being cannibalistic and satanic rituals and rape and fucking nasty shit with like, I don't even want to get into specifics because I don't want to give anything away, but there's a lot of nasty shit going on. Plus these, these guys filming all this shit, and it's just really kind of just a bunch of mean-spirited characters and shit, and just people you don't really give a shit about. Like there's people that are involved, like the one dude he goes to the hooker that gets away from Massive and stuff. Like she goes and finds this one guy, and he had problems with her cousin who's like her pimp and like all this shit. It's just fucking crazy. A lot of shit going down for like 75 minutes. Just put it that way. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, even when we did our director's spotlight on Ryan Nicholson, I really focused heavily on how I felt like he can do dark really well, and I would like to see more of that.
Yeah, I like the sets, man, and I think like the whole tone of the film stays the same, which is nice. It's just It's just like, holy fuck, right from the beginning of the film right to the end. It never stops in that same tone. And I think you'd really enjoy this. I have heard some people say it wasn't their favorites and stuff like that. But, with Ryan Nicholson, I think it's probably more likely you're going to say it's not my favorite Ryan Nicholson film because of something like Gutterballs. Yeah. It's really hard to top that. So when you hear people say that, it doesn't mean that it's a bad film by any means. I really enjoyed this because it's different than some of his other work, I mean, from what I've seen from Ryan Nicholson, which is pretty much everything. I haven't seen one or two things. But this one I really enjoyed. I like the just the mean spiritedness of it, especially in a couple parts of it. It's pretty fucking nasty, but I don't know. I really enjoyed it, man. I give it about a 7 out of 10. It was good.
Nice.
So
that brings me to my last one, and before quick cuts and segments, and that is a film that Jeremy talked about a few shows ago, and that is VHS Viral from the year 2014. So VHS Viral is, I believe, 3 shorts this time instead of the usual 4 or 5. So there's 3 plus the wraparound, I guess.
There's only 3 shorts? Really?
Yeah.
Crazy.
The first one deals with a guy who is a magician or wants to be a magician. He ends up getting a hold of a cloak that Houdini himself used and abandoned because of its alleged power. He gets a hold of this cloak and becomes like the next goddamn David Blaine or David Copperfield or whoever, just some badass dude. But what he's doing is real, and that's why he even goes way beyond those people. And basically the cloak feeds on, I guess, humans, so he has to feed it in order to keep control of its power. He then has a magician's assistant who gets involved, and honestly, it's not a good segment. It should have been. It could have been. There could have been some things there. I like the backstory with Houdini and stuff like that. They didn't really go into it too well. Also, the relationship between, for one, it felt rushed, and it's a longer segment considering we now only have 3 segments. It's not properly developed, and overall, it's kind of silly and stupid because they don't make it. They don't really put the threat level up with the cloak. They kind of tiptoe around the idea and never really kind of fully. And the ending is bad too. I don't know. And also, I want to say one thing I always liked about the VHS series is that they found clever ways to make it found footage. Now they're not even trying. It's just whatever. They're just cameras and it's found footage. The second story is about a man who creates a machine in his basement that goes to an alternate universe, and he and his twin on the other in another universe both make the machine at the same time, so they're basically seeing each other. They decide to switch universes for 15 minutes, and shit isn't exactly as it seems as it was supposed to be or initially thought that it was. This one had it had major potential, and it just didn't work for me. It was just the idea was cool. Honestly, it was kind of a fun, there was a few fun reveals and stuff, but it just felt like they didn't flesh out the story enough. There just wasn't enough story. Cool idea, cool effects and stuff, but they just didn't flesh out the story enough. The third segment is about a group of skater kids who decide to go down to Tijuana and end up disturbing and being part of a ritual from this Mexican fucking demon cult or something. This one also had a lot of potential. This one has a tone shift that I hated. It starts off very Larry Clark-ish, in terms of you're just following these kids and they seem real legit. I grew up, skating. I know these type of kids, and they were pretty legit. They were very kids the Larry Clark film. And then it just gets to a point where it goes full over the top mode, and it just was kind of annoying. So overall, VHS, the wraparound story was awful, worse than the other two. VHS Viral, extremely disappointing, and it's actually a bad movie. So it's a 4 out of 10. Avoid it.
Man, I can't wait to see this.
That's what I said when Jeremy reviewed it. Like, I even came lower than Jeremy. Jeremy gave it a 5.
Crazy.
I think it's a definitely below average, especially.
So are the shorts this, like you said, they have potential? So they, like, you know, if they were kind of extended, do you think they could work more?
No, not
or
extended. They just didn't have the right people doing them. I felt like the first short had probably the least amount of potential because it was kind of a silly idea. It didn't really work to begin with, but I liked the idea of doing something with the magic and stuff like that. I felt like there was a lot more potential to do things with the magic instead of just like mind moving, like moving, like throw it, like flicking your hand and like somebody flies across the room. Like I just felt like there was way more. You're dealing with unlimited power, magic. Don't just do some like telekinesis shit. And then the second story, I felt like had a real like potential to be like this weird like time travel-y type of just like bizarre story, and it was still pretty bizarre. And I feel like there was stuff there that maybe if there was more time, that one could have worked on another level. And then the third one, it was kind of fun, like it looked cool, but it's just it felt just over the top, and I didn't like the overall tone. It was way too over the top, but it was like fun to watch as just a pure, I'm just gonna watch what's happening on screen because it's fucking pretty crazy. But it lost like the tone. How, the scene in VHS 2, the cult scene where they're running through the thing and people are blowing their heads off and all kind of crazy shit's happening. Like, that was very fun to watch, but it also made sense. This one was similar and fun to watch as like just a bunch of crazy shit happening, but the tone was too over the top and it was ridiculous and completely like nowhere near believability. It was like a goddamn video game.
All right. Awesome.
Yep. So, segments.
Segment time. Jeremy.
All right. So, for this week's Midnight Madness, I am going to review a film that Moodz talked about earlier on in the show when we were talking about Asian slasher films.
Well, I just technically mentioned
Yeah, you ruined your segment by mentioning that it was your segment. We would have been surprised. No, we're not.
I don't care. So, talking about the film Dream Home. Now, this film, I've heard a lot of shit from people. Even some people from school have seen it, and I know Moodz has talked about it, or to me, in the visual and things like that. This film is fucking batshit insane. Literally batshit insane. So, the film starts off right with a bang, with a very intense and brutal kill with the security guard getting strangled with these neckties. Not with these neckties, with these, what are they called, Moodz? They're like zip ties. Zip ties,
zip
that's
ties.
What they're called.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, the film starts off with a bang, and it's quite a brutal death. But then it goes, I should have brought this up when we were talking about films that have a different tone. And then it goes to like a drama type story where we follow this woman who, of course, is the woman who killed the security guard, who has lived a pretty shitty life, and she can't seem to afford enough money to buy a loft. They're called a loft, where I think it's from Hong Kong, if I stand corrected. So real estate in Hong Kong is extremely, extremely expensive, and it's a bit of a problem there from what I assume from watching the film. So she becomes...
Yeah, they have like 100-year mortgages there.
Yeah.
Because it's so unaffordable.
Yeah, so she becomes extremely obsessed with trying to get enough money to afford a loft for her and her brother. And she goes, I'm not going to spoil it, but she goes as far as doing something pretty fucked up to one of her family members. So everything starts going wrong, and she can't afford this loft. So she starts to go crazy and starts killing people in the building where the loft that she wants to buy, just because she's jealous that they have this, this loft space and she doesn't. And some of the kills are really, really fucking well done. And the effects are really, really well good. There's a scene with this pregnant lady that's pretty disturbing. And I know we talked about ladies getting killed that were pregnant in the past, but this one is just brutal. And what she does with this vacuum cleaner to her is just it's fucking insane. And it's something that I've never seen done before in any of the films that I've watched. And it was really, really effective. And there's some other there's a castration kill that's really, really funny, but dark at the same time. And some other great effects as well on top of it. It's kind of like a home invasion slasher film, which is interesting. It's definitely an interesting home invasion take on the home invasion subgenre of horror. But this film is fucking fun. It has really awesome effects, and like I said, it's batshit crazy. It's one of the better IFCs, and I could understand the hype about the film. So I give it an 8 out of 10.
What did you think about the way they told the story? Because it flashes back quite a bit, and I've heard from some people they get kind of confused a little bit. They're like, "Hey, what's going on here?" And I've heard other people say they didn't really like the way the story was told. But I have no problem with the way it was told because I mean, if you tell it, I mean, I think it works the way it's told.
Yeah, because it's like 80 flashback, 20 present.
And that's the thing, but it's being progressive the whole time.
Yeah, if you don't know it's a flashback, you don't know what's going on, then I'm sorry to say you're an idiot.
Yeah,
and you know.
But I think some people just really like they want this story to be a little more spoon fed and stuff.
Nah, that's stupid.
But I think it works. I really do like the way the story structure is. I think that's kind of an interesting way of telling the story and. It kind of gets into her psyche of
it's not brutal all the time. It's a story based brutality film, which is funny because most films like this are mostly just focused on the brutality and the kills, but this one is more based on the story and it throws the brutality into the mix, but really well done and interesting.
And the storyline's really interesting too because it's something that would totally come from, an Asian culture too, because you probably wouldn't see, a slasher film or whatever you want to call it made over here based on the reasons why she's killing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, generally things are a little more affordable. Like we don't have to go out our way like, oh, that loft over there, I'm going to go and take out these motherfuckers because I can't afford it. It's like, eventually you probably could, I mean, to a certain degree, but like over there, it's like, they have family tree fucking, mortgages. Like we're talking 100-year fucking mortgages and bullshit. So it's a little different. But yeah, I think it's definitely a product of, that culture. And that's what I really like about that film. I think the story's awesome and I think it really works. So yeah, great stuff. Check stuff.
It out.
Yeah. What did you give it? 8 out of 10?
8 out of 10.
JP, have you seen that before?
I have not.
Oh, God.
You should check it out.
It's a good one.
It's quite good.
Yeah, definitely will.
Neil Palmer, director of the X-rated films Hot Summer in the City, Erotic Adventures of Candy, Candy Goes to Hollywood, and coming soon, The Longest Foot, starring John Holmes.
Hi, I'm Gail Palmer. I've been hired by Stallion Releasing Company to supervise the editing of this new X-rated film, The Italian Stallion, with Sylvester Stallone in the starring role as Stud.
All right, so for my Italian Stallion this week, it still makes me laugh every time I say Italian Stallion. From 1974, I believe this film came out in, I know I have it written down some. Yeah, 1974. Obviously Italian film called Beyond the Door. This is a release by Code Red, one of their earliest ones, actually. Basically, this one centers around a couple. It more centers around the wife. Her name's Jessica. She's married to a music mogul. He's a producer, very wealthy and stuff like that. She is pregnant, living in San Francisco. And the odd thing about this film is that, it's an Italian film, but it's all set in San Francisco. So it has that Italian kind of, feel to it, but it it's totally like American feel, and at the same time, it's really odd. It has a really weird tone and feel to it. I don't know. Maybe it's the dubbing's there and stuff, and I don't know. It's fucking weird. But anyways, she becomes pregnant and stuff like that, and she starts having like complications and stuff with this pregnancy. And so she soon later finds out that like there is like some major problems with this, you know, potential problems with this baby and stuff like that, and they can't really figure out what the fuck is going on. And then in comes her ex-boyfriend. Now her ex-boyfriend Dimitri is actually, she hasn't been with this guy for like 20 years or whatever, but he's basically like a Satan worshiper, and he starts showing up and basically tells her that kind of tells her that the baby that's inside of her is, you know, the Prince of Darkness. You know, he's like the spawn of Satan. And Dimitri is basically trying to convince her that she needs to have this baby. And it's for his own selfish, you know, reasons too, because he actually has to sacrifice this baby to, you know, to keep his own, you know, fucking weird, demonic, satanic existence and, you know, in this reality. And anyways, so basically as she's, you know, pregnant with this child, she becomes like completely possessed and like, you know, like a demonic creature herself and stuff like that. So now it's just a struggle of what the fuck to do. This one, you know, essentially kind of is like, you know, an Italian ripoff of The Exorcist, but totally different though. It is actually quite different than The Exorcist, obviously. But you know, it's got that whole demonic possession thing going for it and whatnot. It's got, like I said, this movie has a really odd tone to it because, like I said, it's Italian, set in America, and like it's like full blown, like, I mean, Golden State, the bridge is like in fucking tons of scenes and stuff. It's got this really odd feel to me. But you know, the acting's decent in it, you know, and stuff like that. One of the funniest things about this movie is not only the effects. Some of the effects in this film are fucking beyond cheesy and hilarious. It's actually pretty funny. But it's the kids, man. I don't know what it like, but I don't know how the dialogue came about for the kids, but the kids are so fucking rude and funny to each other. Like, they constantly swear to their parents and stuff like that, and they just kind of blow it off like nothing. They just start swearing at them, and they're just like, "Oh, Katie, stop that." I don't know, man. Different worlds, I guess, but I don't know, man. When the mom Jessica, when she starts getting all possessed and shit, it's actually pretty entertaining. Dude, like I said, some of the effects, man, whew, man, pretty fucking funny, pretty funny. Overall, pretty entertaining film. My main problem with this one is the length. Now, the length is just under 2 hours. It runs way too long. They could have cut out so much stuff. There was a lot of pointless scenes that were going on. Maybe a little too much with Dimitri. I wish they had kept Dimitri's character, you know, a little more kind of hidden, maybe a little more, you know, maybe you didn't know so much about him and stuff. I mean, there's things you don't know, but you know, like I said, there's a lot of scenes that were kind of drawn out and stuff that really hurt the overall feel of the film. And, just cause, you know, you don't want to watch a 2-hour fucking possession film. Like, seriously, she's fucking possessed. Come on. You know, how much green fucking pea soup can she puke out? And I'm pretty sure that's what they used too. But yeah, it's actually pretty decent though. I didn't mind this film. I'd always heard really bad things about this. This is the first time I've ever watched this one. Finally got my hands on a copy of this for really cheap, actually. And I'd always heard, you know, it's whatever. It's always labeled as a, you know, Exorcist ripoff, but you know, it is different. But I did actually enjoy it quite a bit, and I'll give it about a 7 out of 10. So yeah, Beyond the Door, 1974.
7 out of 10. Nice.
Yeah.
You know, this one, I don't know if I was surfing through YouTube one time and like clicked on this one, but it sounds kind of familiar.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, the you know, the storyline maybe for the times wasn't like overly used and stuff. I mean, this was what year did The Exorcist come out? 73?
Yep.
So this is right after. So it is, you know, obviously a take on, you know, that type of film, trying to cash in on, you know, The Exorcist fame and stuff like that. But like I said, they did it their own way, but the length really fucking hurts this film, man. It's just too bad. I mean, how often do you ever see a film that's like that long, you know? Mm-hmm. And, you know, it was kind of frustrating towards the end of this movie too, because it was getting really drawn out. And I was like, fuck, man, okay, they could have ended it right there, but they didn't. And I was like, fuck. But overall, you kind of look past that little minor bullshit. It's actually not too bad, though. I didn't mind it.
All right.
All right, everybody, settle down. Would you sit down, please? Teacher.
You mean they're not in this class?
No.
Are you in this class?
No.
You want to get out then, please?
No.
On to my segment, Horror 101. This is where we take a look at a horror / exploitation, some style of documentary that kind of fits the genre, something that's very informative because learning is fun, especially learning about horror films. So this week, this isn't horror per se, but it is along the lines of that exploitation style. And this is Badass Cinema from 2002. This was put out by IFC, and it is a introduction to kind of an overview, if you will, of blaxploitation and all that. It is only about 60 minutes long, so just an hour. But I think it does a really good job at covering a decent amount of, I guess an introductory course to blaxploitation, because I didn't know really much about it at all, but it kind of does a decent overview. You have Quentin Tarantino in here, which I thought was cool. There's also, a lot of the actors like Samuel L. Jackson talks about, his experiences watching these films. Pam Grier, of course, who's probably the most popular actress from those type of films, and Gloria Hendry, and just bunches of people that I'm unfamiliar with. So they go kind of through the history, the early film, I believe, like the first two, which was Shaft. Everybody knows Shaft, and then like Badass Sweetback or something. And they kind of talk about how originally there was kind of like political messages within these films. And, you can definitely see that. But at the same time, there's other people. One of the things I like about this documentary is sometimes it has conflicting opinions between the talking heads, and I like that. Some people say like, well, it was kind of just a cash in. Other people are like, no, there was like real like meaning to some of these films and stuff like that. And Quentin Tarantino is being himself, as usual, funny guy stuff. They talk about the popular ones like Coffee and Shaft. They briefly touch on Blackula and Blackenstein and stuff like that. This is about as far horror as it goes. But they also, go into the future of like Jackie Brown, which I guess is kind of considered one of the last blaxploitation type films, of the at least popular ones. And I really enjoyed like the debate on like, was this exploitive to black people, or why was it called blaxploitation? Because there's a debate there, which I liked. And I gotta say, Samuel L. Jackson was cracking me up, man. He's just smooth. And I mean, this was a really interesting watch for being so short, and I feel like I learned a good bit about that type of exploitation film. And I would really like to see like a nunsploitation documentary. So if anybody knows if there is one, let me know. But yeah, I mean, have you seen this, guys?
No, I've wanted to check this out. It's on a list to grab. I love blaxploitation films, so.
Oh yeah, they look like they're a blast, man. Like this made like I'm sitting there watching it. I'm like, yeah, I want to see that one. Yeah, I want to see that. I'm looking at all these crazy, because then they start talking about like how the blaxploitation films started becoming like kung fu exploitation films as well, where it's like black kung fu and shit. And I was like, This is awesome. So yeah, I mean, definitely it's a brief look, but for somebody who really was unfamiliar with that period and those type of films,
they must have had definitely Fred the Hammer in there, eh?
Yeah, definitely. He was kind of a
Fred the Hammer. He's the fucking best. And, like, he's in so many classic.
He's awesome in this documentary too, because he's like still badass. Like he's just as badass, like with just swag out the ass. Like it's just, it's short. They even had I forget her name, Afeni, Tupac's mom, Shakur. Like she's in a great deal of it too, talking about like the impact that it had during the time and how Tupac was like a big fan of these films and kung fu films. So that was really cool. I mean, for only being 60 minutes long, I felt like they really packed in a lot. Unlike the documentary I reviewed last time, Fantastic Flesh, which was also about 60 minutes long, this one really felt like it was just enough to kind of get your juices going, and also to where you didn't feel like you learned a little bit and you really enjoyed the experience. And unlike Fantastic Flesh, which kind of just felt like it came up short. This one, although it's short, definitely still very informative. I liked it a lot. I give it about a 7.5 out of 10.
Right on. All right. Yeah, man. I love blaxploitations, man. I got a lot of blaxploitation films, and there's so many I would love to get. There's so many. Like, I have a lot of trailer compilations, and they always end up going into like blaxploitations. And some of the trailers, dude, I'm in fucking stitches, man. I'm pissing myself. Like, they look so amazing. Like, I mean, there's this one. Like, it's a Western. And, oh my God, dude. I'm fucking dying even thinking about it. But I got to get my hands on that. I don't really want to say the title on air because it's kind of derogatory. But
yeah, there's definitely a couple of them that were, pretty crazy titled.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking like the N-word in the title. And I'm just like, oh my God. It's like the meaning of exploitation, man. It's so bad. But no, I'm a really, really big fan, and yeah, gotta love them. I definitely want to check that out though. So
yeah, it's real cheap too. I actually got it on what was it, Second Spin for just a couple bucks. So
yeah, that's cool, man. Cool. I always forget to. Where did you find that on the site? Was it on the is there a documentary part?
No, you know what was annoying is I actually had to type in all these titles manually, and that's a bitch.
Yeah, totally. So if you, pretty much need a list, in front of you just to kind of go through. Yeah, it makes sense.
I'm having so much fun with this segment, though, man. Like, all these documentaries, I got still a big stack of them. I'm gonna get some more, and I'm really enjoying this.
Cool. All right, so quick cuts, guys. Jeremy, you got some quick cuts?
I do not. Like I said, I was watching less Vampires, and it was 7 hours long.
We'll go through ours pretty quick.
All right. Okay, I'll get into my quick cuts here. Okay. First up, from 1970, released by Scorpion, is a film called Girly. Now, I really didn't have any idea what the fuck I was getting myself into with this one. I'll break it down real quick because it's really fucking weird, man. It's really weird. It's basically about these two kids, brother and sister. They live in this massive house, like huge house with their momsies and their nanny. And basically what these kids do is they bring home like older men and stuff, and as playmates. That's what they do. They bring them to this house, and the family basically fucks with these people. The kids are so weird, man. They're like adolescent fucking children, They sleep in like big oversized cribs. They play like children, but they're like, in their later teens and shit. It's really fucking weird, man. The mom is bizarre. Everything about this movie is fucking weird. I watched it this morning. I was just like, holy shit, this movie's awesome. Anyways, so basically they use these people as, playmates. And then, once they get bored, if they start doing bad shit, they go to trial. And then if they lose the trial, then they get sent to the Angels, which is their way of saying that they killed them. And shit, it's a pretty wild fucking movie. 7.5 out of 10. This is one that would be fun to do for all of us, man. Lots to say about it. Next up, I watched Just Your Tracking from 2012, documentary on VHS collecting. Fucking fantastic from VH Shitfest. 8.5 out of 10. It's pretty much, it is what it is, man. It's awesome. About VHS collecting and interviews with a bunch of people. And
was that 8 out of 10 or 8.5?
8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, that's
really
one
good.
That's on my short list to get for my segment.
I do highly recommend it, man. The film's about 80 minutes long, and there's about 7 hours of features, and I actually watched all the fucking special features, man. It was really entertaining. Extended interviews, fucking a whole pile of really cool stuff, man. Really enjoyed it. Awesome stuff. Next up, Molly and the Ghost from 1991. Girl moves in with her older sister. She falls in love with the husband, decides to get rid of her sister, so she calls up a hitman. The hitman shows up at her house. She's still there. She ends up getting killed by the hitman, so there's a mistake there. The older sister's still alive. And then you got the shit with the ghost going on and blah, blah, blah. Really, really terrible early 90s film. 4 out of 10. Really, really did not like it. It was fucking stupid. Next up from 2014, Housebound. JP and I had a discussion about it earlier, so you know my thoughts on that one. I'll get into the rating. 9 out of 10. I absolutely fucking loved it. I've already watched it twice. I could probably watch it again. Next up, actually, oddly enough, talked about this one earlier too. Trapped Ashes, the anthology film from 2006. So if you're just skipping into this portion, you know, go back. We talked about this. 8 out of 10. Loved it. Great anthology film. From 2008, I watched the sequel to the really, really, really fucking bad movie called Boogeyman. Called Boogeyman 2 has nothing to do. It kind of, I mean, it plays off the
I think
first
you did this
bit.
one last week.
Boogeyman 2?
Recently. Maybe I'm tripping.
No, I actually I talked about it to you, I think.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, this one's more of a slasher film, takes place like in a hospital and stuff. It's actually pretty good, really entertaining. Probably, I mean, if you just disregard the first Boogeyman, get into Boogeyman 2, not bad. I give it 7 out of 10. Then Boogeyman 3, actually, I liked a lot more of the same stuff. This one's on a college campus. Really cool kind of mythology that's going on. I really did like the mythology, actually. It was pretty cool how they kind of kept elevating and stuff. It was really interesting. 7.5 out of 10. People are probably going, what the fuck are you talking about? I enjoyed them, sorry. I watched another trailer compilation called Trailer War. It's from, what's the company, Jeremy?
I don't know.
Fucking losing my mind here.
Mill Creek.
No, fucking Mill Creek. Jesus Christ, forget it. Trailer War. It'll come to me in a second here. 8.5 out of 10. Draft House. Yeah. Fuck, it's slipping my mind. Trailer. Yeah. Apparently that Blu-ray is out of print now, which sucks because it's really fun. It's got, you know, your typical type trailers, kung fu, exploitation, fucking porno, horror, a whole pile of cool stuff. Really fun stuff. 8.5 out of 10. Then I watched a slasher flick, like a really fucking oddball slasher flick from 1986. I completely forgot about this one. It's released by Shriek Show. It's called Hell High, and it's basically about a teacher that has this past history with something that happened to her. Anyways, some kids are just kind of pissing her off, and then she starts going off the deep end. It was kind of interesting, decent at best, but just very oddly structured and different. It's no one really ever talks about this film. Hell High, 6.5 out of 10. The Return is released by Scorpion. Basically, it has Sybil Shepherd's in this film with Martin Landau. Sybil Shepherd, as a child, had this pretty crazy experience with like this alien lights and stuff like that. She's now working for like kind of like a NASA company. Anyway, she goes to this small town to do some investigating on these lands and whatnot, and then rediscovers that she's actually been there before. And then all these cows and all these mutilations, all this weird shit starts happening. Really cool, actually interesting film. It's kind of a slow burn. I think it could have been done slightly a little better, but it was entertaining. 6.5 out of 10. It wasn't the greatest in the world, but it was fun. Next up from Scorpion, I watched a film called The Power from 1984. This one is basically about this little Aztec wooden kind of figure thing that gets stolen, gets in the hands of these 3 kids. They start fucking around with it. This guy dies, goes in the possession of this other dude. He actually gets possessed and starts fucking up some shit because basically it gives you the power. It, again, was kind of cool. I think the execution was a little poor at times. Kind of on the same level as The Return, 6.5 out of 10 also. Then I watched The Dead 2 from 2014. If you've seen The Dead 1, this one takes place in India. Zombie outbreak. Buddy's trying to find his fucking wife. Blah, blah, blah. Lots of zombies. 7 out of 10. Thought it was actually pretty entertaining. Cinematography, fantastic. Another film from 2014, So Above, So Below. This one is based in the catacombs in France. About this girl that her dad is this big explorer history thing. She goes down in the catacombs with a group of people. basically the catacombs start fucking with them, bringing out like their old fears and shit like that. Really, really weird, fucking entertaining film. I had a blast with this. I really like the premise of it. 8 out of 10. Great flick. Next up from 2014, I watched Horns, of course, starring Daniel Radcliffe, also known as Harry Potter. Basically, he is not framed, but the whole town is convinced that he kills his girlfriend. One day he wakes up with horns on his head, and now he's got these crazy powers to basically when people talk to him, he kind of brings out the worst in people, so they kind of tell the truth. Every time someone talks to him, they're telling them the truth. It's kind of weird. And he can also kind of control people. He can tell them what to do and they'll do shit. But the whole premise of the film is him trying to clear his name. He's trying to figure out who the fuck actually killed his girlfriend that he was going to marry and stuff. Really cool flick. I highly enjoyed it. Daniel Radcliffe really pulled it off. I thought his American accent was fantastic. And 7.5 out of 10.
I believe that was that film's actually written, or the story was written by Stephen King's son.
Oh, really?
I think so.
I know it's based on a book, but I didn't actually know that he wrote it. But interesting. Next up from 2014, I watched Compound Fracture. Derek Mears. Basically about this guy has to come home to his family. His nephew's just been orphaned, and their family's got this crazy fucking past and stuff like that, and all this crazy kind of supernatural shit starts happening in the family. Oh, God. Not executed very well. Actually quite boring. Kind of stupid. 5.5 out of 10, but there was some moments in it that was decent. And last up, I watched Christmas Evil. Do I need to get into the premise of the film? 9 out of 10. I fucking love Christmas Evil. One of my favorite films, Christmas films of all time, so that's going to do it for my semi-quick cuts.
Well, considering you just rattled off like nearly 20 films, I mean, it was pretty quick.
Yeah, and I didn't even write down my reviewed ones either.
God. Okay, so my quick cuts will be a little bit faster. First up, The Horde. This was IFC Midnight release, French, I believe, reviewed it on Body Bags. This is one that mixes tones that I don't really like, genres that I don't really like, action and horror. It's Zom action. It's a fucking zombie comedy / action. I don't know. Just really not my style, but I did enjoy certain things about it. 6.5 out of 10. Next up, At the Devil's Door, 2014, another IFC Midnight. This one, I have a feeling that people are either going to love it or hate it. I was in the camp that actually loved it. I really like this one. This one is a film that really doesn't spoon-feed you the plot. You're kind of in wonder, like, what the hell's going on and stuff. I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be really torn on the ending, but I personally really, really liked this one. I thought it was really well acted. I loved the setting and the tone, and it actually was kind of creepy. And I thought it was going to go to like just a possession bullshit type story. I even was in the middle of it, and I told you guys that like I'm not really feeling it or something. But I ended up really liking it. 8 out of 10. Next up, we have Blue Ruin from the year 2013. This one is a revenge film. It's not really too much horror, but it is that revenge, which is kind of in the world of horror. This one, Moodz described it pretty well. It's an unlikely story that is just really fun to watch. And it's pretty brutal and pretty serious. It's a very serious film, dark and bleak. I liked it. I like that style. I like that feeling. I like that just straight rawness of these type of films. Really liked it. 8 out of 10. Next up, Dead End. This is from 2003. One of my freaking favorite, like, random finds, like, blind finds. This film, I just love something about it. It's a family driving on a long stretch of highway, very dark, very mysterious. Nobody knows what the hell's going on. They can't seem to get out of this straight path. And there's a woman in white, some creepy shit starts happening, Lin Shaye's in it, people start acting weird. I just really, really love this film. Dead End, 8 out of 10. And finally, Late Phases from the year 2014. This film was fantastic. I loved it. Probably one of the best werewolf films I've seen in a long, long time. Very, very practical effects. And pulled off pretty well. I love the main character and his story. Kind of this war veteran who is blind. I've heard it say that this is kind of like a cross between Silver Bullet and another film. I forget what it is, but that's kind of a good example. Just really, really fantastic. I'll go into it in the future a little bit more. 9 out of 10.
Fuck, I didn't know that was a werewolf film. That's fucking gnarly.
Yeah, that's it for my quick cuts, by the way.
Nice. I didn't know that was a fucking werewolf film, man. Now I'm pissed off that I can't find it. That sucks. I would really like to see that, so. Cool stuff. Alrighty, so that's going to do it for quick cuts. Moving on to the featured review, which is the cult classic, Nekromantik from... This movie was made in 1987. I believe it was released over here in 1988. So either year is fine. Yeah, I mean, Nekromantik has quite the history, has quite the following. Everybody knows about the movie. I think the history behind it is actually kind of interesting. The director totally made this film, you know, basically to rebel against the German rating system, because at the time they were going through some crazy censorship, and he really wanted to help. He just really wanted to help fight the censorship in the country, because, you know, at the time, like I said, it was really shitty. So, and he actually had no intentions of directing this movie. He just kind of came up with the concept of it and didn't actually intend to direct it, but ended up directing it anyways. But yeah, so synopsis on it.
I'm sorry for boring you, Jeremy.
Oh no, I'm talking about the movie.
Whoa. Nekromantik. We're following a character who is I guess it's like a coroner or something. He's basically the guy that picks up dead bodies and dead shit off the road.
Actually, they're not. He basically just works for a street cleaning company.
Well, that's even weirder. I
know, that's what I thought.
So basically, he picks up these bodies and stuff. And something interesting about this particular guy who's doing this job is he's pretty fascinated with dead things and body parts, and he, more than a fascination, he's really just completely enthralled in all things decay. So he takes them back to his house. He keeps like pieces and organs in jars on his shelves. He also has a girlfriend who's really into this shit as well. Eventually, he finds like a pretty solid body, brings it home. They start having sex with it and shit. Eventually, he gets fired from his job. His girlfriend breaks up with him, and that just kind of sends him over the edge.
Yep.
Fuck, I was bored.
Really? Well, first of all, big shout out to Cult Epics for hooking Jeremy up with a copy of this, right?
Yeah.
Now, the first thing every time I watch this movie, I don't know why I watch this movie over and over again. It just makes no sense to me. But the first thing I always say, I'm like, this, you know, it's a black comedy, man. It's a fucking dark comedy. This movie is not even serious. Like,
I don't find one bit of it funny.
Really? Because it's actually not meant to be serious. Like I said, you know, he was basically making the film to, you know, and he went out of his way to find the most ridiculous idea
I get
ever.
that. I get that part of it.
But there's certain parts of this, it's just like so like, obviously this could be considered like Jeremy said before, like a total art house film. And that's exactly what it is. But to me, it comes off as a total dark black comedy. And I've always thought that too. Maybe it's because the idea is so ridiculous. I mean, if you're not into necrophilia, you know, you can laugh at it, you know. To some people it's not funny at all, but I don't know, just the tone of the film just kind of, I don't know. I think what it is for me that makes it kind of dark comedy and funny to me is the fucking hilarious score in the film, man.
Yeah, it scores.
I find the score
it's
not dark. I mean, if they had the dark score in at parts in the film, the score actually is a little darker. But you know, the beginning, you know, piano driven score, it's so like kind of funny. I don't even know how else to describe it. It's just not dark enough for the, you know, for what the film is, you know, in my opinion. So it makes it kind of funny to me. I don't know if you guys agree or not, but
no. Well, see, my thing is, I just can't. Like I understand it's ridiculous, right? The wooden thing uses like a penis, like it.
Yeah, but it's like, oh my god! All I hear is people talk about this film and how
it's totally the content, though. You know, fucking dead bodies.
Yeah, but it's
stuff.
like,
no, dude, that you got.
Okay, so they just did that. Okay, whoop-de-doo. It's not as like hardcore as I thought it was going to be. Like people.
It's hard fucking core, dude. For the time, you gotta
the time.
Like you're desensitized and biased. You gotta put yourself in the position. Like if I seen this shit when I was like before I seen Hostel or Devil's Rejects or any of that stuff. Like when I was a kid, this shit would have been the most fucked up thing I've ever seen. Just describe this to a coworker, and you'll see like the type of reaction that you get.
Actually, that's a good scene because that's another scene that I find.
I thought the ending was
adds
more
to the comical elements.
fucked up than that part.
Yeah, I thought that scene with the wooden dick was kind of adds to the comedy element. When she puts the rubber on it, I'm like, really, the rubber on that?
Well,
like, I mean, come on.
It's for the lubrication, if anything, right?
I mean, you could probably just squeeze some KY on there, man. You don't need the rubber.
I don't think these dirty motherfuckers are worrying about KY.
What the fuck is with the rubber then? I don't know. I mean, KY is just a lube. It's just a fucking lube.
Yeah, I mean,
it just made me laugh. It makes me
like, I can see how you can see it as funny because how ridiculous it is and stuff. But I don't really find it like that funny. Like it's pretty just an interesting experience.
Okay. There's different elements to funny. I mean, there's like haha, like laugh out loud funny, and then there's like watch something and be like, okay, this is comical to me, but I'm not actually laughing out loud. You know, hence the darkness to it. I'm just like, I chuckle in parts though. I really do. Like the condom part. Like, I mean, I don't laugh when he kills the cat at all.
No,
I don't find that fucking funny at all. You know, and I think maybe the way he's doing it is supposed to be a little dark and stuff because he's like completely going over the top with it, but I don't know, man. But you know, there's certain elements that are definitely not fucking funny.
The closest parts to me that I find funny are like when you start getting all those like weird like overlay camera shots, like when they're having sex. Like I'm like that. It's like just ridiculous. Like the way that it looks like they're just kind of rocking back and forth. I don't know. It doesn't look natural and stuff. And
I was just
it's obviously hiding stuff.
Actually, legitimately. The part where the dude that's shooting the birds ends up killing the dude picking the fucking apples.
That was funny.
That shit
funny.
is
It's funny because also there's no like audio.
I know because and that's kind of where the German expression filmed. Like he was almost filming a fucking silent film at that point. It was all score driven, and it just reminded me of something you'd be seeing in the 20s for fuck's sakes in that part. I mean, you can probably agree with that, right, Jeremy?
Oh yeah.
Like it was
even
totally,
the shadows
I even
later on
thought
and
that.
things like that.
Yeah, it's just so obvious what he's doing there. You know, he's just adding all these funny elements. But, dude, the guy's reaction when he shoots the dude picking the apples is fucking funny because he doesn't really give a shit too much. It's like,
oh yeah,
and he just goes and dumps the body. It's like fuck. I don't know. Just
like
makes me laugh.
Like to me, honestly, like this movie is gross as hell. Like I'm like I can actually like
I wasn't grossed out.
Honestly,
that's weird.
Dude, the gross.
Like I think of like Salo. That movie's fucking gross. But like this movie,
fucking gross to me, dude. Like
this movie was not
the
like
dude licking the eyeball and shit. I'm just like, that is.
He actually puts the eyeball in his mouth and spits it back.
You have to use your imagination a little bit, Jeremy. You have to pretend that dude is licking a real eyeball. Like it's gonna gross you out if some man is licking the dead eyeball of something. Gotta use your imagination a bit, dude. It's not gonna look perfect in
I'm not saying that, but
88 with low budget practical effects.
Okay, do you have to imagine a guy getting his penis severed in half in gutter balls is legit?
Well, I mean,
it's a different tone.
I think it's a little different tone, but
I don't know.
I mean,
I just don't. It just didn't do it for me like I've been hearing.
Well, you're a victim of overhypeness or just over talked about.
Yes.
But that's where you have to try to, as like a, you know, from the standpoint of like a critical reviewing style, you kind of have to find a way to disconnect from that.
I agree, but I was bored. I didn't think anything was really going on.
I actually wasn't bored at all in the film. The part with the rabbit actually, like, I couldn't sit still. Like, I really wanted to not watch it, and I kept moving, but I like stayed watching the whole time. And, you know, I've seen deers get skinned and stuff, but something about knowing that it was captured on film for the purpose of film, like, gets under my skin. It's like, it was brutal looking. It was like, it wasn't like done in like, hey, I'm skinning this deer thing. It's like ruthless skinning of a rabbit that really bugged me.
I like the ending where they like did it in reverse. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I thought that was a cool edit.
One thing I do like about I always butcher the guy's name, man. It's like George.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah, I know.
Nailed it.
The director, nailed it. One thing I do like about this film, though, is that everything that he does in this film is so calculated and just a big fuck you to the censor board.
And I like that about it a lot. Like that, I was just watching this. Like I know the point of it. Like I know it's just like, okay, like fuck the censors. I'm just gonna make the most ridiculous, like fucked up shit I could think of. But for me, it still kind of works as a narrative a bit. Like this guy is a weirdo creep and his girlfriend is a weirdo creep. And yet somehow, like as ridiculous as it is, like there are weirdo creeps like that in the world. It's just a little bit, fantastical in this film. But if you can use your imagination a little bit, it's a bizarre story.
See, I like the scene where, I mean, using the word like is kind of funny, but the scene where the dude is taking a piss. And they literally show the whole scene, but that's literally calculated. He's just like, a big fuck you. He throws in a piss. He's piss on the fucking rating system right there. I like how calculated that is because there's really no need to show that.
Yeah, and that's like very long. It's like a long scene. It's like a minute and a half.
That's what I'm saying. It's so drawn out and calculated, and there's a purpose to why he did that scene. Like, it's not just a random pissing scene. Hence, it is kind of ironic that it is German, though, and they like their pee.
Well, like some of these like shit that like some of the gore has to be like real like dead parts of animals or something, right? I mean, like some of that shit in the jars
the balls
and stuff.
Fucking butcher a rabbit. I would hope that they would.
Oh man,
use real shit.
I'll tell you what, like that scene in the tub with the cat, like rubbing that stuff. I was like, ugh. I don't gag. Like Moodz is the gagger here. But that shit for some reason.
You need to watch Stallion, man.
Dude, the fucking when the I don't know what it is, man. When the guy puts the eyeball in his mouth and spits it back out, it doesn't really gag me, but when they first unzip the body bag or whatever, and she's kind of like rubbing the face and it's all gooey and shit, that was fucking making me gag.
Yeah,
it's all gooey. I'm like, that's gross. I don't know, certain things like that.
See, it didn't do anything to me.
That's because you're desensitized, man.
I am not desensitized.
You are. I don't know, man. There's just certain things.
Have you seen Salo?
No, I haven't seen Salo.
Okay, yet. Well, you both need to watch that movie, and then we'll talk about what gagging is.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that film wouldn't make me gag too. I'm just saying like that slimy shit was gross.
It was gross, man. I don't know. I
think the most ridiculous part is like the actual end.
Yeah, that's the most. I thought that part was fucking nasty.
But it's
most like hitting him in his face and shit. It's fucking gross.
Dude, you have to admit that the thingy looked pretty fucking funny.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that did.
I thought I was looking at freaking
The edit is so funny because all of a sudden it's just like out there and like sticking up, and you're just like, okay.
I was staring at Boogie Nights there.
But so that there's like the part where it turns blood. Like that actually makes me cringe because I used to play Little League when I was a kid. And I got hit with the ball like really hard and I peed out blood. It was like the worst thing ever. It was like super scary. So that kind of makes me cringe a bit.
That's brutal, man. That's so brutal.
But like the scene in the graveyard, like I thought that was a pretty brutal scene. Like that's the type of shit that like ew, like it kind of gets under my skin a bit. It's like gross and shit. And I like that movie theater. It's like, I'll just have to get a couple beers. I was
love that part.
Dope.
But then again, that fits his character though, man. He can't, with alive people kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I like that. I thought it was like, okay, like it like really points out like how fucked this guy is.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Yeah, this movie's after his girlfriend leaves him, man, it gets super art house, eh? Like like the compilations and stuff and the music and just what's going on, and it's just like it is really kind of it does at times feel super drawn out. Like he's just kind of
there's definitely times where I was drifting like in the field and stuff, but I mean like at the same time, like I don't hate it. It's just, it is what it is. It's the art house. That's what a lot of those type of films do is like stuff like that. You just kind of have to deal with it.
It has a lot of German elements, like like I said, with the almost like the
surreal set pieces too.
The surreal set pieces. The fucking building that they live in, dude, isn't that the most grimy looking building ever?
Yeah, I love that about it. I love that grimy, nasty fucking look.
One thing I love about this film is how it was shot, though, because I think we talked about this before. I think it was originally shot on 8mm or something like that. Super 8. So it has that real grimy look, but that's perfect for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a really dirty, disgusting looking film or feeling film. So looking shitty too, man, just really adds to it. I think it was awesome how they did it. So really does work for me.
Well, this is actually the second time that I've ever seen this film. The first time was on a bootleg, and I couldn't see shit, and the subtitles were pretty awful too. So I'm just saying, like, wow, it looks so much better on Blu-ray.
Fuck, this is a movie it actually really doesn't have that much dialogue. I mean, there's
really
periods in this film where there's no words for like a long time and stuff. You could watch this movie without stuff.
I liked when they, where the chick was in the bathtub and the TV was playing that stuff about like phobias and stuff. Like, I liked that scene. That was pretty cool. It seemed like how the camera drops to the floor and like goes out into the other room. Like that's where I was like, you know, this is more than just like fuck you to the censor boards. There's a little bit of art in here and stuff.
Yeah, there's definitely scenes. I always thought that scene with her in the bathtub was so strange, man, because they don't really show
what's bleeding.
What's bleeding and stuff. I remember the first time I watched this film, I thought it was like her pussy, man.
Ooh.
I was like, is she bleeding in the bathtub and just like washing herself in her period blood? I'm like, that's fucking disgusting.
That dirty, nasty bathwater, like any dirty, nasty bathwater disgusts the hell out of me. So, ugh.
Yeah, it's fucking nasty scene. But yeah, they never do show why there's blood in there.
I think they're just nasty and there's blood everywhere and there's just gross shit all over their house.
That's what they could be getting at for sure. Yeah. I mean, fuck. I mean, look at after Buddy starts rubbing himself.
I think the girl was more effed up than the guy.
Well, yeah, because after he loses his job, she's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You can't get any more bodies? Well, I'm fucking out of here.
Yeah, it's like she was only there for the dead body sex.
Yeah. Dude, I have to say, man, the fucking the decapitation or whatever in this film just kills me every fucking
awesome
time I see it.
effects, though.
Man, dude, that body flop.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Makes me laugh so hard, man. I don't know if you noticed, but like where the jaw was, like the tongue.
Yeah.
Like how it was still kind of, oh fuck, that makes me laugh.
Yeah, I thought that like the articulation of the dead corpse thing was alright. Like obviously it looks a little plasticky and stuff, but there was a bit of articulation in the neck that kind of gave it a realism look to it and stuff, and I totally accepted it for what it was. It like fit. I'm actually really curious. I've never seen the sequel. I'm actually curious to see that.
Yeah, it's decent. It's decent. Yeah.
I've always heard it was better, so it's not better.
I don't know, man. I haven't actually watched it in a while, but it'll be interesting to see the Blu-ray print of it because I think that one is shot a little more high budget.
Yeah.
So from what I remember, anyways, so I don't know. These aren't my go-to films. Like, I'm just surprised at how many times I've actually seen Nekromantik. It's fucking bizarre.
Yeah,
But
see, this is one of those films like this is a film that if I would show any like normal person who wasn't like a horror fan, like they would just be extremely shocked. So I do think it has that shock value still. Like even though Jeremy says that it's like, you know, what the big deal and stuff, like we're looking at it from the point of view of just people who've seen everything and stuff. Like you kind of have to open your mind a little bit on this one.
Yeah, I mean, dude, fucking the music in this film, man, I can just see him playing those notes on his Casio keyboard. It just fucking makes me laugh, man. Man, you gotta admit though, the score, like the first music piece in it always gets stuck in my head. Like I can still hear it in my head right now. And I watched this again like 2 days ago, or was it? Yeah, 2 days ago, whatever. But it always gets stuck in my head, man. Just picturing him pressing those notes on his Casio. It's fucking so funny to me. I don't know. But this movie definitely doesn't get better with each viewing for me at all.
I think this is a one and done type thing. Like, I don't really think that. I think once you've seen it, you've seen it. Like, you've seen what it's about. You've seen, like, the you know, what everybody's always said about it and stuff. I don't think there's really, like, that much value to go back and revisit it often.
Yeah, I honestly don't know what else to say about it.
Never gonna watch it again, that's for sure.
Well, I'm actually curious to check out the special features because there's quite a bit on that Called Epic's release.
Yeah, I actually haven't tackled any of them yet. So, but Yeah, I should get to
if
those.
it's anything like Deathbed, where I felt like it was a cool look at like the like just these weird films, like I'm pretty excited to check them out. Should be cool.
Mm-hmm. Coolio. All right, so ratings. I guess we'll start with Jeremy, since he was so impressed with the movie.
Yeah, I was not a fan of this one, to be completely honest. I was, like I said, I was quite bored with it. I was drifting quite frequently when I was watching this one. Like I said, there was some moments that jolted me up, like the ending and the rabbit skinning and things like that.
Ugh.
But I just don't understand what the hype is about this film. Like I said, maybe I'm biased because I'm part of this community and I don't look at the film like Moodz and JP are, but I just didn't find what the big holla was about this one. 4.5 out of 10.
JP?
Enjoy is a weird word, but I was interested in the experience of this film. Said enjoy just doesn't fit for me. It's just something that's so bizarre. Like, necrophilia is really taboo, even in horror. Like, you don't see it that often, right? To have a whole film centered around it, was really interesting to me, and to see like the like how fucking weird and bizarre this like lead character was. I just found it really interesting. So I came in with a 7.5 out of 10.
Damn. All right. Yeah, I've never really been the biggest fan of this movie either. Like, I enjoy it, I guess, to a certain degree, but it's never been like my favorite watch. Like I said, it doesn't really do anything for me with multiple viewings, but I understand what it was about, and there is elements of this film I really do like. I like, the fact that how everything was super calculated. I respect that, and for what he was doing and stuff. But, overall as a film, like Jeremy said, there is times I do get bored in this film too, with viewings. But, I don't hate this film at all by any means. It does make me gag, and every film that makes me gag, I enjoy. Seems to be kind of a staple, but, I give it about a 6.5 out of 10. It's not spectacular for me. I just,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it did affect me. Like, it did. Like, I squirmed the fuck around during the rabbit scene. Like, it really did gross me out with the cat stuff. Like, in the bathtub. Like, I like feeling uncomfortable. Like, in watching films. Like, so, anything that could kind of make me feel a certain way, I got to give it props. And this isn't one that I'll revisit or whatever, just for the special features. But I think it did its job, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. So, anything else? Any last words on it? I think that's it.
Oh, that's it.
That's it.
Alrighty, so that is going to do it for the featured review, Nekromantik, and the 37th episode of the 22 Shots of Moodz and Horror. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And, we'll see you guys next week. Jeremy?
All right, so thank you everybody for listening to the 37th episode of the 22 Shots of Moodz and Horror podcast. As always, if you want to follow the man Moodz himself, you can do so at youtube.com/Moodz616, or click the subscribe button down below if you are watching this video on YouTube. As always, you can follow JP on his channel at youtube.com/doubleshotj, and as always, he still hates Pee Wee Herman. And if you want to follow me on my channel, you can do so at youtube.com/NESRuler22. And as always, you can check out our website at the 22 Shots of Moodz and Horror.com. It's 22 Shots of Moodz AMD Horror.com. And as always, if you have any questions, you could email us at the 22 Shots of Moodz and Horror at gmail.com. That's, of course, 22 Shots of Moodz and Horror, AMD at gmail.com. And as always, you can follow us on the Facebook page. If you're on Facebook, just go to the search bar and type in 22 Shots of Moodz and Horror podcast and join the community over there. Lots of good discussions and people over there on the Facebook page. And as always, you can follow us on Twitter at 22 Shots Podcast. And if you want to leave us any voicemails, you can do so at 724-426-6665. And as always, please leave your voicemail under 3 minutes unless you want to call back and leave another one. So that should do it, folks, for the 37th episode of the 22 Shots of Moodz and Horror podcast. We'll be back next week with our year-end show, which will be a very fun and exciting show.
Top 10 of 2014 should be a blast.
So should be an interesting show because I think our lists are going to be vastly different.
I think they're. I would be surprised if we've seen more than 3 crossovers.
Hopefully, I don't get stoned to death this year.
I'm going to be fucking around 75 2014 films down.
How many have you seen, you think, Jeremy?
20.
I've seen about 35. So Moodz.
Interesting.
But I will say probably all of the 35 are what would probably be considered the top 35 of the year. Minus, give or take a few here or there.
Wow, there's definitely some I know that you haven't seen that might make your list, but
yeah.
Anyways, I'm very curious to see what these are gonna be like. But
so we shall talk to you guys next week.